All right, folks. We all know that one of the most common mishaps in hunting is damage to your rifle scope. Last year, I found the solution to that problem with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. It wraps around your scope and actions securely to protect it from getting knocked off of zero or even severely damaged. Stealthy Hunter also has a glassing pad and a wide variety of supplements for the outdoorsman, such as protein powder, CBD products, turmeric, and gut health supplements. They also make a lightweight trauma kit weighing in at just 14 ounces that includes everything you need and nothing you don't for all of your backcountry medical emergencies. To shop all of their equipment and supplements, go to StealthyHunter.com and enter the discount code at checkout, The Northern Hunter, to save on your order today. All Stealthy Hunter equipment is proudly made in the USA.
You're listening to the Northern Hunter Podcast, home of all things hunting, fishing, and outdoors in Alaska.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is James Payne.
I'm Dalton Gray.
I'm Ryan Humphreys.
And we finally have the great pleasure of sitting down with our good buddy Shaun here. Got you in the studio finally. Welcome, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been talking about it for a year.
I know. I was going to say, you've been a huge supporter of what we've been doing here, and since before episode 1, and just talked a lot about getting you on the show. Glad we could finally make it happen.
I remember when I first got here, we was talking, and I said, I'm thinking about doing my own podcast, and you went, well, we've got something on the back burner. So my plans went in the can, and you guys took the reins. And you've done it a lot better than I could have done it anyway.
Well, it's good to finally have you on here.
No worries.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good to be here.
Maybe as we expand and grow, we'll work you in somehow. We'll bring you on board. You're wearing the hat, I see it. Nice. That looks good.
So Shaun, for our listeners' sake, they can probably tell that your accent isn't from Alabama.
No, I'm from Florida.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. No, I'm from Northern England.
Oh boy!
So
the land of the free, or not so much anymore?
No, it's where I'm from. I'm from Yorkshire, the county of Yorkshire.
Okay,
best place in the world. So yeah, it's mainly countryside. A couple of cities, but it's the biggest county in England. A lot of rolling hills.
So just for reference, how far away from London is that?
If you are doing 70 miles an hour on the motorway, I'm about 3 hours north of London.
Okay.
And I'm on the east coast.
Right on.
So grew up next to the ocean pretty much.
Nice.
Next to the salt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's fishing primarily there, right?
A lot of fishing, a lot of fishing in the North Sea. A lot of saltwater fishing. A lot of what we call coarse fishing as well in England, which is freshwater fishing.
Okay.
Roe deer hunting, a lot of pheasants, partridge, ducks, geese.
Nice.
What kind of fish are you fishing out there?
In the saltwater?
Yeah.
Cod. Basically like your, not your black cod, but you've got the Pacific cod.
Mm-hmm.
They look like pretty much the same, but they're Atlantic cod.
Okay.
And then I actually, one of the few people that have caught a Atlantic halibut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were showing me that picture.
So yeah, it actually went in the local newspaper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's not many get caught on road and line.
Are you guys just a little south for that, or what's
basically, yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of guys from England, if they're really into the fishing, they'll fly over to Norway and fish the fjords for the halibut over there.
Okay.
Because we're sort of directly across.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, cod, pollock. Summer, the mackerel come in, and then I used to we've got the blue sharks, paw beagle sharks.
I was just going to ask if they had much in the way for predatory fish out there.
Most of the fish are predatory. All of them are.
Right.
Yeah, we get basking sharks.
Oh, okay.
A lot of dolphins, porpoise. Obviously, we don't fish for those, but it's nice to see.
Do they have much in the way of seals and sea lions over there?
Yeah. A lot of seals. If they're around, just move,
Right, yeah.
Right. They're better at fishing than you are.
Yeah. We in the summer months, trolling for bass. So we sea bass, which is a silverfish.
Nice.
They're probably that, and halibut is about the best eating fish, I would say. And haddock as well is probably one of the tastiest fish we have. But yeah, there's loads. We got to Scotland, fish for skate. They go 200, 300
You
pounds.
actually fish for skate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
300 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I think we pulled one of those up on the boat this year, halibut fishing.
Right. Yeah.
And then just, threw it back. But
yeah, I've got some pictures on my own boat, which is sadly sold now. I'm here, but that had an 8-foot beam, and there's a picture of me with a skate, and the skate's wings are touching both sides of the boat.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It took me an hour to get it off the bottom.
Wow.
I saw you posted a photo a couple days ago of a fish. It looked kind of like a walleye.
Silverfish. That was a sea bass. Was it on a reel?
I don't remember.
It was a reel. I did it yesterday. Or something. Yeah.
Okay.
That's sea bass. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, and this just my knowledge has mostly been around hunting most of my life. I'm trying to get more into fishing as I get older. But I've heard rockfish referred to as sea bass. Is that correct, or is that like an American?
No, it's an American thing. I think
we just call
it's just
call
American.
things by our own names.
Yeah, I mean, rockfish here to me is like a generic term of a lot of different fish.
Yeah. Because primarily
like a yellow eye,
when I'd be fishing down off the coast here, I've heard like the black rockfish referred to as a black sea bass. I don't know if that's accurate or if
different fish. Like what you say, like the walleye, which is a freshwater fish.
Yeah.
They look like a fish in England that we call a zander.
Okay.
Very similar predatory fish. And they came over to the UK from Europe, I believe. They were introduced to certain lakes, and then they spread throughout the river system.
Interesting.
Nice.
I've never actually caught a walleye. They actually look pretty neat. Those big ones look like a lot of fun to catch.
Yeah.
And we have the same pike as we've got here in Fairbanks.
Northern pike.
Yeah, northern pike, same fish.
Are they taking over everything like they are up here?
No, certain lakes are generally with pike. You've got to manage them, and if you leave them in too much in a lake, they will they'll breed and then they'll just start eating each other, and everything else will be gone. So you've got to really watch. You've got to be careful.
A lot of the local lakes around town, that's how it's gone down.
I
There's nothing but pike in there.
I just got a new tip for a really good pike lake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll have to share that off air.
Nice.
Yeah. Like 40-incher class.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, we don't measure fish in England either. Generally, we weigh them.
Right. So I know we've been talking about
we have the metric system, but we weigh fish in pounds and ounces. So we in England we use both, like metric system and the standard.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But then you
imperial system.
Imperial. So like when guys hear like, oh yeah, we've got a 50-inch pike, I'm like, right, how big is that? I'm trying to work out what it weighs, because I judge them by a 20-pounder is a good fish.
Right.
30 is really good fish.
And weight probably, now that I'm thinking about it, sounds like probably a more accurate way of figuring out if it's a good fish, because like referencing pike, you get some that are 4 feet long but super skinny.
Right.
And then you got some that are just too fat to get through a 10-inch hole in the ice. So it's like, I'm sure there'd be a difference in weight-wise regardless of how long the fish is.
Well, it's kind of the same thing with like our black bear judging up here. Well, really any bear.
Yeah.
In the lower 48, people say, well, I shot a 500-pound black bear, and that's like their monster trophy scale. Up here, we would say, well, we shot a 7.5-foot black bear, and that's a monster for us.
Right.
But on the same note, our bears don't get as fat down there because we don't have the same food sources for our bears.
Yep.
They sleep longer. They don't eat the same food.
I think that's probably why we measure them differently, I suppose you could say, instead of weighing them, because weight would be deceiving. Because I don't think a lot of those 500-600-pound world record black bears coming out of the lower 48 states are that long necessarily. They're just built like a tank.
Yeah, it's the same with pike as well. If you catch a big female in February in England, it's going to weigh more because it's full of spawn.
Yeah,
it's ready. Yeah. It's ready to lay its eggs, so it's going to weigh a lot more than if you catch that same fish and it weighs 25 pounds. In summer, and that's a monster.
Right.
Interesting. It's going to weigh
Right.
30 pound, 35 pound in
Yo.
February.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, right.
Yeah, I was gonna say down in I just came back from a trip to Michigan, and I was talking to a lady at the DNR about the black bear population down there, and they're quite a ways south considering latitude lines from where we are, and she was surprised to hear that our bears are smaller up here compared to down there. I guess they've pulled in like on the bigger side of the scale, like 350 to 600 pounders is what they have on record.
Yeah, that's
down
definitely
there.
bigger than ours.
Yeah.
She was laughing though. I was telling her about the how big ours are up here. I think I average around 200 pounds somewhere in there.
Yeah,
like,
I've never. I'm really
but-
terrible at guessing weights on stuff. Still,
Yeah.
like, I shot a couple of bears since I've been up here, and the biggest one I shot was this spring off the bait, and I think it's like 5 foot, 5.5 foot.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit bigger than that. I don't know what it weighed. I got it on my back, and I know I was tired when I got back to the truck.
Yeah. You haven't bear baited long if you haven't carried a bear out on your back.
I've only ever done that once.
Same,
I didn't even gut the bear for a lot of reasons, but my friend shot one a few years ago now, and we just wanted to get it out. So I loaded it on the pack frame and staggered out, and that was probably, I've carried one pack out load heavier than that I know was heavier, but that was a heavy pack out.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be doing that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what it weighed. It was heavy, and I gutted it out as well. And it was heavy, very heavy.
I need to start bringing a sled so I can just drag them out.
That's what I'm doing.
I've heard a lot of people start it, and that's probably what I'm going to do next year.
I just got one on Marketplace, a little jet sled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just got to find a tree to hang it in out there, and that way it's just always there. Hopefully they don't tear it up too much while you're gone.
Yeah.
But so you did a lot of fishing, but what got you into hunting? Like first off, like how young were you? Like
pretty young.
young.
Yeah. My dad was in the army for quite a while, and then he came out and went in the what we call a territorial army. So he was like a weekend soldier for most of my life.
That like
kind of like the
guard?
National Guard.
Yeah. And he got me into shooting pellet guns, in the garden and stuff. I'd be shooting those, and then that progressed on. My granddad was a poacher.
Okay.
So,
There you go.
he would go trapping pheasants and rabbits and things from the local like gentry, and he had a big cage in his garden, and he'd just put them in his. When I say garden as well, you guys call it your yard, and if I hear a garden has got vegetables in it, whereas in England everything's your garden.
Okay,
if it's outside, your yard is your garden. So he would have like basically like an aviary with pheasants, and then he'd just be in the kitchen. We'll have a pheasant for dinner tonight, and then just walk out, wring its neck, and so that sort of like sparked my interest. But I was sort of like airgun hunting, really young, shooting whatever I could, basically rabbits mainly, and anything. And then in later life, we have a very different licensing system to you guys for firearms and shotguns. So I managed to get my licenses, and then I started basically shotgun shooting, and I was roe deer hunting a lot.
There you go. A little bit bigger than the rabbit.
Yeah,
not much, but a little bit.
I think I started. I was shooting roe deer pretty early on.
So how big are roe deer?
Trying to.
Is it
I haven't actually seen one of your black-tailed deer on the hoof yet.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to put them into perspective.
Like how much do they weigh on average on the hoof live weight?
I can pick one up and put it on my back. Let's put it that way. Not
so like
and
75 pounds, you think, or
so a little bigger?
Probably more than that.
100?
Yeah.
Oh,
something
really?
like that. Yeah. Okay. They stand. The back is around like midway on me, and I'm 5'9".
Okay.
So they stand sort of 3.5 foot off the ground on their back.
Yeah.
Straight antlers. Generally 6 points for a good one.
Gotcha.
It was like a miniature stag type of a rack.
Yeah, well, a stag will have a lot more points on it, and it'll flare out at the tops. A roe deer is generally, you're not going to get them much bigger than 10 inches tall.
Okay,
that's about the size of them.
And you guys have a lot of those roe deer over there.
Yeah, Yeah, there's a lot of deer in England. 6 different species.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask, do you guys have fallow deer too?
Yep. Yeah, so we've got, starting at the 2 smallest, we've got muntjac deer and Chinese water deer, which don't have any antlers. They just have fangs.
Yeah, I was there. I was to say they're the ones with the fangs. Right?
Yeah, muntjac have antlers and fangs.
Oh, okay.
And then roe deer is the next sort of size up.
Yeah.
Fallow deer, sika deer, and red deer.
So no axis deer, though.
No axis deer. In the parks, you get them. There's a lot of like high fence hunting areas, and they've got all different stuff in there. And a lot of American guys go over, and then you see the pictures on Instagram. Look at this big deer I shot, and you're like, yeah, you just got out the truck, you walked 10 steps, and the guide went, "That's it there." Yeah, and you shot it, and then all of a sudden you've got number 1 in the SCI book. You know, and everyone's giving him all these like, "Oh, big up, well done, well done." You're like, "Well done." Right? It took you 10 minutes. A tractor comes along, picks it up, takes it to the larder, gives you the head. You're sat there having a beer and eating a steak in the bar while someone's dealing with it for you.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Don't get me wrong, I've done it. I've been there. I've been on those estates. I've done a few little hunts like that, especially with my son. Just to get him some trigger time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's not hunting.
Right.
It's not hunting. It's shooting stuff.
Well, go into that a little bit because I know you guys' management system is a lot different over there. And
there basically isn't one.
Right. Yeah. It's more of a landowner by landowner kind of system, isn't it?
Yeah. Basically, you will have someone like me or a gamekeeper or somebody like that who's employed by a landowner.
Okay.
Or sometimes not employed. You know, for me, I wasn't employed at all. I had an agreement with a landowner that I could shoot the deer on the land.
Okay. Yeah.
And basically, I put my own management plan because I wanted to get bigger deer on there, and I wanted to keep the dog men off, which is the poachers running dogs on a deer, which is a big problem. So I need to manage those deer, keep them at a low population.
So a poacher down there, are they going on private property then?
Everything's private, yeah. So they generally, a poacher will run dogs. They'll be running dogs, and they'll go on there, and they'll be running hares and deer.
Gotcha.
And they can run dogs and not get caught.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of rural places in the UK.
Right.
And there's not a lot of police in those places. There might only be like 2 police officers for quite a big rural area, and they aren't going to get out there.
Which is kind of
because it's a night. They do it on a night time. Obviously.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's like from this side of we're not just across the ocean. We're across the ocean and the whole other continent. So it's what you see on TV a lot is the big cities and the big more populated areas. But I'm sure just like you go down to I don't know, Montana. Yeah, there's all you ever see is Bozeman, which isn't even that big of a place. But if that's all you ever saw, you might not understand that the whole rest of Montana out there. So
right.
I can see that. Yeah.
There's a lot of within an hour from my home, I've got rolling hills, and then I've got big flatlands, big farm fields, and there's roe deer all in both of those areas. And the dog men tend to run the flat. They like to see the dogs running.
Okay, yeah.
Spotlight, shine the eyes, and then let the dogs
go.
And
when you're talking private property, I mean, are we talking like thousands of acres?
Yes, generally, It can be anything from 50 to, thousands.
Yeah.
The area I had originally was 1,200 acres it was a country estate, and then the landowner around that saw what I was doing, and he let me have his. So it turned into like 2,500 acres of it over the years. And I gave that to a good friend of mine who's got a podcast in England as well.
Okay, nice.
So he now runs the deer on there.
Okay,
So
the I don't know what the Crown over there, the federal government, they just don't really care about the deer population.
No,
at
they
all?
do, but
is there a Department of Fish and Game kind of set up there? Or?
Not really. No, there's the Forestry Commission, which basically manage forestry land. They have their own stalkers to keep deer out of the woods because they're growing trees for profit.
Yeah,
and then they're replanting, and it's an ending sort of cycle, never ending cycle. So they have their own stalkers, which a few of my friends do, and those guys will shoot 2,000 deer a year. Each one. There's a lot of deer up there.
No kidding.
Just management type stuff.
It makes me laugh sometimes because I see I'm generally just going to say American, but like you see like a whitetail hunter and he goes, yeah, I got my deer this year, and like my buddy's sending me a picture of his Ford Ranger with like 40 red stags in the back of it from that night. I'm like, all right.
It's like those guys in California since they outlawed mountain lion hunting. So now the either federal or state management now has hired guns that go in there and shoot the mountain lions that come to the rural areas.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So instead of letting hunters pay for licensing and tags and the right to hunt them, they pay a government official and they spend our money anyway to go out and pay somebody to shoot them.
They don't get the bad publicity that way.
Yeah.
It's just, it's management.
And the same thing happens with city deer too. Like there are hired hunters that kill deer that are in, close to urban areas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is the odd person in the UK. I know one guy, he was like on some kind of like police radar thing, and if there was like say loads of cows got out on the motorway, they would call him and he would go shoot them off the motorway. Go pick them up. Things like that. There is people that do get called if there's a wildlife issue.
Well, and that's one thing I like the way Alaska does it too, is there's two lists you can be put on with fish and game. There's a roadkill list and then there's a problem moose list. And I know people that have successfully harvested off both. So if somebody hits some moose on the road, unfortunately, if it ruins your truck, you can't take it home with you.
Yeah.
But I think that's to discourage people from intentionally running down game with their trucks. But somebody does get it. They go down the list, and then you have to be ready to roll that moment. But grab your trailer, head
generally,
out there.
A lot of deer do get run over in the UK, but they just get left at the side of the road. Sometimes the police will call. Like I've been called before just because they knew I was a local guy and I had firearms.
Right.
So then I'd go and like help the police out and kill the deer.
Right.
And I've come across accidents before where a woman's screaming and there's a deer still alive on the side of the road, and it's actually fine. It's just knocked out, and then I picked it up and held it and then let it run off, and it's fine. There's a lot of deer deaths by accidents.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and they do ruin your car. Even a small road deer will really mess your car up.
Now, I don't know if I heard this correctly, but I thought I heard at some point you can actually sell game meat in like restaurants and use it for stuff like that over there. Is that pretty common?
Yeah. Most people do. Most venison will go into the market.
Nice.
Will be used as food.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
The market's very low now. They're not getting the money for it like they used to.
But people are going out there shooting 2,000 of them a night, or a year. I'm sure. Supply versus demand.
You would get like what we call a game dealer, and he usually would have a van, like a refrigerated van, and you say, "Yeah, I've got 5 deer," and he'd come round and give you some money and take your deer for you.
There you go.
And they go into the system.
Yeah,
interesting.
But like on the RTA stuff. Sometimes the police would call a vet, and the vet would inject the deer to kill it, and then they leave it on the side of the road. And some people go and then go, "Oh, there's a fresh deer. Go pick it up and take it home and eat it," and that can be hazardous to health.
Yeah, that can be problematic.
Interesting.
Huh.
There's a lot of suppressor hunting over there.
Pretty much all of our rifles have a suppressor. The police pretty much say if you go in and you want to, like, let's say I want a 308. And you put in for your license, they'll say you didn't put in for a suppressor. You need. It's generally, it's what we do. We do. I up until coming here, very rarely shot a rifle without.
Wow. Haven't they seen all the scary Hollywood movies where they just make rifles completely silent, and it's just
but pretty
no
much,
reason any person should own one of those things.
Anybody who has a suppressor is now the potential to be a sniper.
That's true.
That's true. That pretty much makes you a sniper.
Nothing to do with
we don't call them suppressors. We call them, if you call it a sound moderator.
Oh, there we go.
That's what we call them in the UK. It's called a mod. Have you got a mod for that? That's what we say, and it's a moderator. Yeah.
Which
moderator
is a much more appropriate name than a silencer.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people call them suppressors here because that's pretty accurate. But still,
But they're not. Anyone that's ever shot a rifle knows with a moderator on it knows it's they're still loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Generally, I'd be shooting on my land 30 or 40 as an average a year. But doing that over the number of years, it adds up.
That's awesome. That's perfect.
But yeah, I did shoot a roe deer last month in Asia.
Yeah.
And that was
I
think
cool.
that might be the last one I ever kill.
Really?
Yeah, it might be. Whether I don't know, we might do a trip to England one year when we all go back there and get you all some deer.
I'd like that. Well, let's take a quick break, Mo, and then we'll come back in.
All right, folks. We all know that one of the most common mishaps in hunting is damage to your rifle scope. Last year, I found the solution to that problem with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. It wraps around your scope and actions securely to protect it from getting knocked off of zero or even severely damaged. Stealthy Hunter also has a glassing pad and a wide variety of supplements for the outdoorsman, such as protein powder, CBD products, turmeric, and gut health supplements. They also make a lightweight trauma kit weighing in at just 14 ounces that includes everything you need and nothing you don't for all of your backcountry medical emergencies. To shop all of their equipment and supplements, go to StealthyHunter.com and enter the discount code at checkout, The Northern Hunter, to save on your order today. All Stealthy Hunter equipment is proudly made in the USA.
At what point? So you immigrated over to Alaska.
Yeah.
What was that? 2 years ago now? A little more?
Roughly, yeah. No, I think it's about 18 months now.
Yeah. So what? I know you've hunted all over the world, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
In a little while. But like, what sparked your interest coming over here? Like,
basically, I got invited with a couple of friends. We'd taken them to Africa on a hunt.
Okay.
And they were American, and they said, "Do you want to come over and do an elk hunt with us?" And we was like, yeah, let's do it. So I came over, and then the elk hunt changed to let's go to Alaska.
Oh, okay.
And so we couldn't hunt here, but we just went along just to have fun.
Yeah, see the country.
Help them
get the
out. And
experience.
we were moose hunting, and there was like two guys that said, if you want to come over, So we came over, we flew into McGrath, and then we floated to Kuskokwim.
Oh, nice.
We went downriver. Really nice, beautiful. I fell in love with the place. Didn't kill anything. No, we saw a lot of moose, but nothing. It was a 50-inch area, I think, because they were non-resident.
Gotcha.
They weren't Alaskan. So they never shot anything. They did shoot at a wolf, a big black wolf. We saw it on a log in the river, and he shot over its back. And that was the only bullet that left a rifle for about 2 weeks. But we had a great time. We were fishing in the river. We were catching salmon and sheefish and pike and eating them. And
nice.
It was great. We had a really good time. I really enjoyed it. I got beaver fever.
Oh no!
yeah, I got the old giardia.
Man.
And that was fun. And then
I was gonna say, Dalton, you might know this. Does Alaska? I'm pretty sure I remember, but before we say anything, does Alaska offer the trade in for your tags the way other states do? Like if you get a moose tag, but you see a black bear,
Yes.
can you trade that moose tag for a black bear tag as long as it's a lower value tag, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Those guys had moose tags and black bear tags.
Yeah.
And then they asked about the wolf, and they said you don't need a tag; you can shoot 10. I think it was.
Yeah. Because I know certain states, that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I like that. So that was how long did that trip last?
I think I was here for 3 weeks altogether.
3 weeks?
Yeah, went to Anchorage and toured around a little bit, and then actually it was longer because me and my friend we flew from Alaska to LA and then flew to Louisiana to New Orleans and went fishing redfish.
Nice.
New Orleans, and then we flew to Florida and went fishing in Florida.
There you go.
So no, we had a really good trip. I fell in love with Alaska, and it was great. And met a woman, and now I live here.
Yeah.
So
That'll do it.
Yeah, it was a tough decision to make. It was. I do have a son, Brandon, which you've met him.
Yep.
but he's older now. He's 18, and he was like, "Just do it, Dad." You know? And so I sold up and moved here 18 months ago.
Man,
I love it.
Oh man,
This is home now. I love it here. It's great. Yeah, it's free.
that is.
Just finally take off that red coat and enjoy.
Well, I still have my red coat and my white wig.
That's the best Halloween costume ever.
I've got it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But no, it's been good.
I mean, next Halloween, he's got to dress up like that, and then the rest,
Yep.
One of us will run up the street as bringing the kids trick or treating. Red coat's coming. The red coat's coming.
The British are coming.
Oh man, I've got a friend down in Mississippi, and his grandmother or great grandmother maybe, she's called it Mima or something, and we went to dinner one night. This is quite a few years ago, and I think like 2015 or something. And I went in, and she called me the red coat. Is the red coat coming for dinner? I don't know. Well, she must have been like 98 or something like that.
Old enough to remember.
Yeah.
Well, Mariah's favorite movie is The Patriot.
Oh yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
So
it's a good film.
It is a good film. Yeah.
just kind of hurts a little bit to watch that, I'm sure.
No. We gave you it. We were more concentrating on the French at the time.
There you go.
Just take the country. There's not much there.
It's like what the Russians thought about Alaska.
Please, 12 cents an acre, just take it.
Yep.
It's funny.
Yeah.
So what all have you gotten the chance to hunt up here so far then?
So you kind of hit the ground running when you got here.
Oh yeah. I didn't. That's one thing my wife said. You won't do as much hunting, because she'd call me, and every weekend I'd be out shooting. You won't do as much when you come over. Is that gonna be okay? And I was like, I'll be doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was lucky enough. A friend introduced me to bear baiting.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've shot 3 bears now, 3 black bears.
Very nice.
And then I've shot a caribou as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a nice caribou
I forgot about
this summer. What else have I got? I think that's it for here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it.
But you've been out with a lot of
that's true.
friends.
Yeah.
Though,
I've been out. Yeah. Last year, a friend got the Delta tag, the sheep tag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And his partner dropped out, and he said, "Look, would you come with me? The flights are paid for. Just like, let's go."
Yeah.
So it was like 2 weeks' notice. So I was like, I'm not in there. I'm not in anywhere near enough shape for this, but I was. So it was fine. It was tough, but yeah, we went in. We were into sheep every day.
Nice.
It was good. It was a good education for me seeing them.
Yeah. I'm sure.
We found some rams, but the one that was right there, he just wasn't quite full curl, but I think he was probably in his 8th year.
Okay.
But
it's hard to judge that though.
Yeah,
in the field. I mean,
we were on that ram for 2 days just watching it coming out of its bed and coming down feeding, going back to bed.
Yeah.
And it was like, are you going to shoot this or not? And it came down to the point of like, let's not. Well, we spent too much time on that ram.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that are very experienced sheep hunters that still get real careful about counting rings.
Yeah, I mean, I had the scope on it with the camera, and I was zoomed right in, and I put the little line across the ruler on the photograph, and that tip was just below, on everything I could find.
And they're strict up here. I mean, an eighth of an inch is too small.
So we never took one. We backed out of there after about 9 days.
Okay.
8 days. Yeah,
we saw some bears up there too, right?
So yeah, we had a grizzly come right in. I think it was a sow, quite a small bear, but judging by the ones I've seen since, right? But yeah, that bear was pretty close. He was 20, 30 yards from the tent as I just opened and woke up in the morning. It was right there.
I think you sent me the picture as soon as you got back into town.
But we watched it for what felt like a few minutes, probably a few seconds, and then we clapped and shouted, and it went up that mountain, which took me 4 hours to get up, in about 10 seconds. That's when you realise how fast they are.
Yeah, they're nimble
they're all muscle.
Yeah. We backed out of there. We were probably 10 miles from the airstrip at the time, and in those 8 days, I think we probably did 90 miles on our feet, and it was pretty tough. It was tough,
Sounds
carrying
about
60 pounds on my back, roughly.
Nice.
But yeah, it was good. It was good fun. Just looking at what sheep tag to put in now for this year for myself. Now I can.
Right.
So
go into a little bit of that process if you don't mind. Like the whole getting over here thing, because I know we've got a lot of listeners from overseas, in the UK, Denmark area and whatnot, and people, a couple of them written into the show asking about hunting over here,
basically
getting
can't.
over here. Well,
it's America is very difficult. People just go, oh yeah, I'm going to move to Alaska. No, you're not.
Yeah,
no, you can't. It took us quite a long time. I'm lucky I met a girl here. She's American, and she basically put the sponsorship in for me to come over. But you can't just move to America, even though Britain and America are very closely related.
Right, yeah.
There's no sort of like process to go, that you can just say, yeah, I want to move over there, unless you've got a job and you're sponsored by a job.
Right,
or something like that. And if you want to just come and hunt here, then you got to pay. You got to be guided.
Right.
Like you guys know anyway.
Non-resident alien.
Non-resident alien
has to be a guide.
Yeah, that was something this year because my son came over and I went to Fish and Game and asked, because it says next of kin can hunt the same, but it doesn't say in that little rule that non-resident alien. And there's 2 different rules, and I was like, what's the deal? And one of them was saying, yes, you can. The other one was saying, no, you can't. We took it as no, you can't.
Right.
So,
play it safe.
Yeah, we just played it safe.
Better way to go.
Yeah.
Because Alaska's not shy about taking all your stuff if you break the rules.
No, like
your gun, your truck, your dog, your wife.
It's great, really, because the government in England don't do anything, to my knowledge, of like management for the wildlife. Really, there's separate like private organizations that look after certain pieces of wildlife, but here, especially in Alaska, the government the state is really on it, and wildlife crime here is a big deal.
Oh yeah.
You get less for murder.
That's the joke. Yeah. They'll take everything except your birthday. Sometimes that.
Yeah. It's tough. It's great here for hunting. The hunting is amazing. But people don't realize. They look on Instagram and they see these big moose and stuff, and they go, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go get one of those." No, you're not. Right? It's not like that. I get friends. Can I come over? And no, you can't. You've got to be guided. I'm not a guide.
Yeah.
And basically, they don't realize the logistics of the place. Getting out into the area to hunt.
Right.
You've got to have your toys. You need your truck. You need a trailer. You need a 4-wheeler. Winter, generally, you're going to need a snow machine.
Yeah.
And pretty much you need a boat as well.
You do. Yeah.
And if you can put your 4-wheeler on your boat, that's the ticket.
That's the ticket right there.
But, it's tough to get out there. And like the sheep hunting, a lot of these guys, I see these big sheep getting killed and, oh, wow, yeah, let's go and pay for a guided hunt. Well, generally right now, to my knowledge anyway, the sheep numbers are pretty low.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smaller rams getting shot. And there's like a handful of big ones got shot this year, last year. And those guys have all got their own airplanes. They're out there scouting, they're looking, and they're putting a lot of time into that,
I was listening to one biologist talk, and he was saying that, because there were a couple exceptional rams shot this year.
Yes.
Very,
I saw a few pictures,
rams. And one thing they said is that might be a really good sign, because we've been in such a low swing for a while, and they've compared it to other low swings in the past where the numbers will just plummet and plummet and plummet, and then on the years that they start coming back, you start seeing some of these bigger rams from the ones that did survive. And it typically seems to be something that kind of indicates maybe it's turning around.
Yeah, it's like
so they're hopeful, but
it looked like some of those rams this year were over 10 years old.
Yeah. So hopefully, maybe we'll be looking at an upswing soon. I mean, that'd be really nice. Maybe we'll stop shutting areas down.
Yeah.
We need something to
The
happen.
hard part about that is it's not the state that's doing a lot of the shutting.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just federal.
Now, for
stuff,
19C, that was a Fish and Game ordeal.
That was, yeah.
Where they closed it to non-residents. And
Yeah.
there's actually a committee that's been either is going to be put in place or has already been assembled.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be like I don't know if you could call it like a think tank type of a deal, where they're just going to workshop ideas on how to manage 19C.
Right.
And that's a state ordeal. But everything else that's been closed, like for instance, this year, right before sheep opener, they closed down that Yukon Charlie area.
Oh, I know.
A lot of that 40-mile country.
How in the world did they pull that? I mean, right before season.
Well,
It
the reason that they pulled it off is it's an emergency closure. And
I know, but
when
still,
they
it's like-
enact an emergency closure, they don't have to go through any kind of a process with the state. Normally, there is an interaction between state biologists and Fish and Game and the feds that want to close an area, because technically, the animals and the management of the animals falls to the state. But when it's on federal land, the feds can technically close it by emergency order without going through that state process.
Yeah.
So that's what we're seeing a lot of, like that Brooks Range corridor, which I believe that's up for re-election.
It was only supposed to be for 2 years. So
I think that's up for re-election this
Yeah.
year, and we don't know if it's going to be open or not.
yeah.
But for instance, things like that, like the archery corridor along the Dalton Highway, that is almost a non-impact hunting area.
yeah.
Maybe in a good year, 2 or 3 rams will get shot out of there with archery equipment.
Right.
In the Yukon Charlie area that they closed down this year,
I think it was like,
like
one
one.
was killed last
Yeah.
year, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
the
Like, yeah.
average is 1 to 2 rams a
Yeah,
year.
it's
So
almost
it's
nothing.
almost a
Like-
non-impact
Yeah.
closure, but that hints to other motives.
Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with. So yeah, although we do have a great state management system, the feds are looking at it from the outside in and saying, well, your numbers are low and people are complaining about it. People to do with ANILCA are complaining about it. Locals are complaining about it that have federal rights.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're obviously not doing anything about it, which is not true either, because
Right.
the state is following their management plan of 8 years old, full curl or broomed.
Right.
By the time a ram reaches that criteria, for the most part, he's already spread his genetics.
Yeah.
He's already done his job.
The only time in instance I could see where going beyond the full curl 8-year management plan would help is if you're getting really bad winters or really bad predation, and all
Well,
of the younger rams are getting
right.
killed
So
by outside sources.
That's certainly happening.
Yeah.
And there are 2 schools of thought on that as far as residents go, because some people are of the mindset, like what I just explained, that if you follow that management system,
Mm-hmm.
the rams will be managed within those harvest requirements.
Yeah.
Because you're not shooting breeding rams. There are other folks on the other side of the table that are residents and hunters, and not just people that have a dog in the fight, that say, well, those rams mentor younger rams, and those rams are still breeding and they're still taking part in that process.
Yeah.
And so hunting does have an impact. And so now you have 2 opposing sides. And the problem is that the people on the first perspective are concerned that if the state does enact closures, when do you get it back?
Yeah.
Because that's what we've faced up here in the past. Is
I
when
don't think you will.
even
That's
if
the big
you
problem. Yeah.
even if you close something with a good intention and saying, look, say for instance, let's close the entire Brooks Range down. This is just totally hypothetical.
Mm.
Let's close the entire Brooks Range down for 5 years. Everything will get a complete recharge. Nothing will be shot. It'll all be natural process. All those young to middle-aged rams will get to breed freely and no pressure during hunting seasons. And in 5 years, we'll have a complete resurgence of population overall.
Right.
Well, the problem is if you have 5 bad winters in a row in that stretch, they're going to go back in there and fly it and look at it and say, man, this didn't really do much at all. Let's close it for 5 more years.
Right.
And then 10 years and then 15 years. And then you end up with a spot.
You got a
that's-
generation that can't sheep hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the fight right now, is people that say, well, I think we ought to give the sheep a break.
Yeah.
I think their heart is in the right place, but what are the consequences long term?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The loss of a resource is the it's there, but you can't go get it.
Right. Sorry, it's kind of a rabbit trail there, but it's kind of a hot topic in the management side.
That's the thing with Alaska. You can go into rabbit holes on every species.
Oh,
here
you can,
and how the different ways it's managed and it's impacted. I think on the whole, it's managed very well.
Oh yeah,
I really do. I think the state does a good job.
Yeah,
there is some rules which I don't agree with, and there's others that I think are absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and I think the state does a good job in perspective of the fact that they understand the ebbs and flows of these populations when it comes to sheep, when it comes to caribou, when people from the outside down in DC or wherever these people are, they're looking up saying, "Wow, this herd of 100,000 caribou is now down to 15,000."
Yeah,
what? Freaking out when somebody who's been watching the records of this herd for the last however long they've been documenting it, 60, 80 years, we'll say, okay, well, about every 15, 20 years, it goes up and down and just kind of, stays steady for the most part. But the steady for a caribou herd could be a difference of 80,000, so it's like, I wish more of those closures and things like that, if they were planning to or wanting to do closures, would be more of a presentation to the state. What do you think with this area? What do you think? And then leave it up to the state.
Yeah,
because
that's that whole difference of opinion there. Because on the federal side of it, it's easy to look in through the window at the state management and say, well, they're not doing anything proactively about it.
Right.
Because from the state's perspective, we have a management plan.
Right.
We have regulations for this. If we give it time, it will rebound. It's just how it works. But the feds have a tendency to look at that and say, well, you're not taking any proactive actions for it. And so then they step in, an emergency order, just close it.
Right.
And, some of the tinfoil hatters like to think that the feds are just out to close all of our hunting out. But there's a million different perspectives to go at it from. But at the end of the day, all we can do is go into our public comments to the state management and try to input our opinion and just do what we can.
Yeah. As we've always said, if there is a comment section open,
be in it.
Be in it. Make your comment heard. Don't sit on the sideline and then complain when everything gets closed down.
Yeah, exactly.
So for when you came here, there's a big difference between resident and non-resident hunting. Did they count when you first moved to Alaska on your
it's as soon as I land.
As soon as you land?
Yeah, that's
because I know you got your official green card. What was that, like 10 months later, something like that?
Yeah, I got it about 10 months later, but you got to do 12 months resident in Alaska before you can.
And they didn't count that just from the green card date. That was from
the
day.
It's from the day I moved
nice.
here.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So
because that opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Oh
being resident.
Yeah. This year we did Chitna.
There you go.
Fish. That was good fun.
Yeah.
Which you can only do as a resident.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys limited it out, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Good job.
I took
yeah. In like 2 hours, if I remember.
I think it was like three hours. Yeah. There's 4 of us, and we had a lot of fish.
That's a lot of work for those that
we were
haven't done
tired.
it. It's a lot of work.
Oh man. And it's heartbreaking too, because I went down about a week after you. Now I didn't dedicate a ton of time to fishing, but I had a work trip. I work in remote sites, and we have a site in Chitna. And so I went down there, and everybody's telling me, "Oh man, we limited it out in 3 hours. Oh, we limited it out in 2 hours. Fish are running." We showed up. We did all of our work in an evening time. We woke up the next morning. It was a weekend, and we go down there, and the water had rose like 3 or 4 feet overnight from where it was when we first got there. And I think the most anybody was catching, we went all the way up O'Brien Creek. We went all the way back down. Around to the bridge and whatnot, where usually there's a ton of people fishing. It's all shoulder to shoulder, but there was like nobody there. And I think there was one group that had a giant net that took 2 people to run, and they were catching maybe one an hour.
Some guys like that. I think they were like Japanese or something.
Yeah.
They had these big square nets, and they had floats on top. And
floats on
that
top,
thing
weights
was
on bottom.
like 40 feet long, and they were just pushing it out. It was great. And then their little wife had a table up, and as they brought the fish in, she was filleting them.
And like when the fish are running, that's a great system. I'm sure they clean house, but they were catching about 1 an hour down there when I was there. It was insane.
Wow. I was lucky this year. My friend had a boat, and he called, and they needed another guy on the boat just to make sure it was safe and stuff. And,
boats can get scary down there.
Yeah, we motored down. He'd been doing it for 40, 50 years, and an older guy, and he showed me the ropes, and
Nice.
it was good
Nice.
fun. I enjoyed it.
Good
Right
deal.
on.
Yeah.
So what was? I know you've done like you've been around dangerous game in your life.
Yeah.
Obviously, you hunted
Yeah.
all over the world.
Yeah.
But what was your impression of bear baiting when you first got here?
I really enjoy. I'm not a tree stand hunter.
Okay,
I've always sort of like shied away from that. And I was like, well, my buddy said, let's go to the bear bait and I'll show you. I was like, wow. All right, I'll go with you. I'm hunting. So I went there, and then when I saw those bears start walking, this is before I was resident, so I wasn't allowed to shoot.
Right.
But we sat there in his stand with him, and I'm like, holy shit, these things are amazing. They're walking. You see these bears, they walk in, and you think these animals, they're pretty big, they're 6 foot bears, and you don't even see them until you hear that barrel.
Right.
Or something. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's a bear there. You'd think these big things would like break twigs and make a noise walking through, because those woods are thick,
Yeah.
And they're cool to watch. They really are cool to watch. I just like watching them. Sitting and watching them interact, and they stand up and they're whacking the barrels around, trying to get the food out. Fighting each other and running each other off, and it's good fun.
Yeah.
But like walking in the first time, I was pretty on high alert, thinking, why am I this is a bear trail in the woods. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
Now I just walk in there.
Right.
Now it's. I always have one in the chamber. The gun's always ready. All I need to do is cut the safety off, and I'm good. I always take my 10 mil with me as well. They're dangerous animals, without a doubt. But both species, what we have here, very dangerous. When you kill one and you have a look at its claws and that muscle, when you skin them out, and you're like, oh, this is,
and their forearm is almost as big around as your thigh.
You're like, there's some serious strength there. And those claws are razor sharp, and
Yeah. Well, and that's the most fun part, honestly. I mean, myself and a lot of other people I know that are just super into bear baiting, it's the watching of the bears. You get to watch them do all kinds of crazy stuff. And
I've got like 7,000 pictures from a trail
cam. Right. But when you're watching these things, and even the smaller black bears, I mean, they can grab a 55-gallon drum and just toss it around like it's nothing. Like, you're like, man, these damn got some power.
Yeah, they really have got some power. I saw a video maybe a couple of years ago, and it was a black bear, and he was fighting the mirror.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, the speed of what he was hitting. I think he was on his hind legs, and he was punching it like a boxer. And the speed of his arms, I was like, oh, if that was me,
right?
You got no chance. You got So you got to keep your wits about you when you go in there, and then I'm really careful. Go in my food, get everything baited up. Put some scents out, have some spray bottles, put all those out.
Use the Beta 907 stuff, right?
Yep, that nasty bore, and that stuff's disgusting. Jeez. I had one leak in the back of the truck.
Oh no!
Yeah, and
all the neighborhood dogs love your truck now.
I still can't get that. I've got that like Linex, that stuff in the bed of the truck, that black thing. And I got some grease from town, from I won't say where.
Right.
I got some grease, and I put some nasty bore in the grease, mixed it all up, and I made some different like 5-gallon buckets, and had them in the back of the truck. Lids were on.
Oh man,
you know what that road's like.
Yeah,
where I go.
right.
And I got
That's
I
all
got to
roads
where
in
I
Alaska.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, got to where I needed to be, and. There was 5 gallons of grease in the back.
Oh no!
Nasty bore in it.
Oh no!
That's when you just haul out the bed liner and drag it into the bin.
I was like, I think it was like 4 a.m. and I was back in town. I went to the jet wash with that hot water, and I was just blasting it out. And it's still the black bed liner is still white. From like the grease is like embedded in the stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, nasty.
But yeah, my wife wasn't happy because I spilt one on the driveway as well.
Oh, yeah.
It just stinks. It still smells.
One of the things that I enjoy the most...
Dig up the whole concrete pad.
One of the things I enjoy the most about hearing from listeners is when they buy something from Jess at Batum 907 and then they email us. And, holy smokes, that is great stuff.
Yep.
I love hearing about
Jess
stuff
is
like
cool.
that.
I've spoke to her a couple of times.
Yeah.
When I've ordered things, and she's cool. She's like, I'll send you this, and send me a hoodie and
nice.
Bits and pieces.
Well, and
it's cool.
And that's one thing we made sure to focus on when we first partnered up with her. You know, we've been using this stuff long before this podcast even existed. Like, long before the Northern Hunter was even a thing. And you know, there's a reason we've all used her products and stuck with her products. You know, as long as they're...
I won't use anything else.
I won't either.
Not going to happen.
I used to mix and match, you know, like back in the day, I'd if I'm in Sportsman's, I'll grab this, you know, generic brand, whatever their brand is. It's the something, but
it's not great.
It's not as powerful.
It's not.
That's the thing I've noticed is like...
the only one I got from Sportsman's was like jelly donut or something.
That's
quite... When I'm in the tree and I just spray that around sometimes. But once it's empty, I won't be buying another one. I'll just do it. I'll just get it from 907 and fill my own bottle.
I just noticed her stuff lasts a little bit longer. But if you anybody listening, use discount code the Northern Hunt or TNHP at checkout.
I did
get some discounts there on most items. I don't think it applies to everything, but on most items.
What I did this year was I had the Nasty Boar tar. And I had
it's good stuff.
Blueberry or something. I forget what it was, like a fruity one. And I put one on the tree near one camera, and I put the other one on the tree near the other camera
to see which one they went to.
Which, and they all went to the Nasty Boar.
Did they really? Nice.
Just to see what was going on.
You know, and that's a great thing to do. And I think we even recommended a lot of people do that. Is different trees, different.
Because a lot of guys say like, you know, where my bet is, it's they like sweet stuff, donuts, and all this pastries and all that. And I was talking to one guy, and he does pops popcorn in the garage. And takes it all out in popcorn. And I spoke to my friend, and he was like, "No, they don't like popcorn there. They won't even touch it."
Oh, really?
I'm like, right, okay. So I'm trying to think of how I can take 50 pounds of food out, but without carrying 50 pounds of food.
Good luck. Let me know if you figure that out.
It's not going to happen. It's you got to take that food out.
Yeah,
you got to carry it out there.
Yeah. So, had you had the chance to eat bear before you came? Here,
no. I got it processed in town.
Okay,
instead of doing it myself, the guy told me about. They did make the bear sausage meat and everything.
Yep.
So we get Italian sausage and breakfast sausage made at Santa's Smokehouse, I think it is in town.
Yep. They do a good job.
And it's awesome. And the guys sort of know me now. I've taken my caribou there and stuff. It's for a couple of $100.
Right.
It saves you hours and hours of work.
It saves you hours, and then especially if you don't have the right setup around. You don't have all the grinders and the slicers and everything.
Yeah. And we pretty much eat bear 2 or 3 times a week. It's our staple meat. Basically, since I've been here, it is.
Did you keep roasts off it, or did you grind most of it?
No, I ground everything. On the bear. Just grind it all. And then I keep steaks off the caribou, and then I ground the rest up.
Yeah. We keep a couple of roasts. So we keep some of the neck roasts, and then my wife had requested I keep some of the flank meat. There was actually, I think it was a UK recipe she wanted to try, where it requested some bear flank meat, and so I kept a little bit of that. That was pretty good. The hard part is just cooking it all the way through to get rid of the trichinosis without
turning it
into shoe leather, well done meat. So pretty much, unless you're going to slow cook it or smoke it or something like that, for low and slow. That's really the only way to do it. But
I think that flank meat makes really good jerky too.
Oh yeah, I could see that. I haven't tried bear jerky, but I bet that'd be really good.
Once I build my shop, I'm going to experiment with different things. But right now, I don't really have the facilities to start playing around too much. We just get it processed, get it in the freezer. It's food basically.
The other, so aside from bear, you're eating a lot of caribou right now.
Caribou, got my caribou in.
Talk about that one.
I like it. My wife doesn't like it as much as the bear. She said it's a bit gamey. But I think it's fine.
Caribou goes one of two ways with people around here. They're either they don't like it at all and they only grind it up and heavily season it and everything like that, or they, like my wife, caribou's her favorite game species. So
and we had some caribou that she really liked, and then the one that I got processed, she doesn't like it.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm like, right, okay, so I just,
So that one you managed to get up there. What was that, a 3-day season we had this year?
It was like
4 days.
We got one weekend in fall.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they closed it in like 4 days or something like that. But you managed to slide up in there and get one.
Yeah, buddy called me. He was like, "Are you going to go up?" I was like, "No, I've got things to do." And we'd been out trying to look for grouse. The night my wife came with me, and it's her first time hunting. So and it rained that night, and the truck was sliding all the way up.
This was August, mid-August,
And then the next morning, I said, we might go out again and look for some grouse later. And my buddy called me. He was on his way back into town. He'd shot a bull. And he said, you need to get up here. Like, there's caribou everywhere. I was like, nah, we're good. And then my wife could hear me on the phone. And she went, let's just go. And I was like, what? Okay. So
don't gotta tell me twice.
Within an hour, I was loaded. My buddy was back in town dropping a bull off at Santa Smokehouse. And then he came over and I followed him up there.
Nice.
And went off on the 4-wheeler and we went off. I went a little bit further than everyone else just because, being honest, there was a lot of caribou, but I couldn't tell the bulls from the cows.
Oh, really?
I'm inexperienced with them.
Right.
And they've all got antlers. And I was looking and I'm like, I think that's a bull, but I'm not. And I'm not going to shoot if I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's
good point.
I said, I just want to fight.
I wish more people would follow that.
Yeah, well, I just said, I'm just going to find a bigger one.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Exactly. And I just went a bit further.
When it's obvious, it's obvious.
Yeah, we're just another mile past and I saw a group of about 60. There's definitely a bull in there somewhere, and I was looking and I was like, and then I just looked up and about 1,600 yards away, I went, I need that one.
Yeah.
And we was looking at him and he was walking towards us. The group of 16 moved off to my right and disappeared downhill. We were above. And he just kept coming. And I got in position and I had him at like 680 or something. I was just about to shoot and he just kept coming. And he got like 520. He's still walking. And then I shot him at 360, I think.
Nice. Yeah, because your wife was there with you.
My wife
videoed
it.
She videoed it.
Yeah. She was
a great
behind
shot.
Me. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, he dropped straight away. And we had trouble getting him out. It was tough. We were side hilling and it got a bit sketchy, and it was midnight before we tried to find the trail. My buddy came up on his big side by side and we saw him come in and that's the way to go.
Well, and some of those trails, I mean, for anybody that knows the the kind of caribou country, it's like sometimes they're pretty well defined if you're where everybody else is. Once you go past where most people go, like you're dealing with just like shale rock and
there's
just
trail
it's
there, but
very,
once it's dark,
and especially if you're going over hills and stuff like that, and you come up to the top of that hill, you might lose the trail entirely.
Yeah,
like,
which is what happened. I knew roughly where I could have got us back quite easily, but I had to go down to where I'd shot the animal, and then I tried to side hill around to get back on the trail, and that turned into not good. So
she still wanted to go out and hunt with you, though, right?
She is. Yeah,
so you didn't scare her too bad.
She was a bit worried, but she's a tough Alaskan girl. So
there you go.
And what did you shoot that caribou with?
My new 7 PRC.
It's a good round.
It's a good round. Pretty swanky round for a new guy.
Well. My guns are all still in England, unfortunately. So I'm a 30-06 guy. That's what I've shot everything with for years and years. And I've got other calibers, but my 30-06 is my go-to.
Right.
And all my rifles are still in the UK. I've got them right now with somebody who's trying to get them over to me, but it's just trying to find an import. Yeah. I've got the export done. I've got an import license from the ATF.
Yeah.
Trying to get them to Alaska is
you would think for a country that's supposed to be as gun friendly as we are, it'd be pretty easy.
Yeah.
But I know.
Just bring them up through the southern border.
Yeah.
Well,
of course I'm kidding. I was going
to say they can't see the face you made after you said that. But no, I mean, we've had problems with that. My wife was trying to buy or get a rifle from a friend in Canada because
it was like a Mini 14.
It was a Mini
or
14, yeah. And because they outlawed semi-automatics, and so her friend that she went to college with was just like, oh, well, I'll just send it to you. You know, it's a 223. You can use it for boxing or, you know, any kind of hunting, really.
And Trudeau said no.
No, oddly enough, the Canadian side said yes.
Oh, really?
It was the American ATF that said, we don't see that there's a sporting reason for you to have this rifle, so we're not going to import it into the US.
Wow.
I was floored. And
Our
ATF said that.
Oh yeah, I'm real surprised the ATF is acting anti-gun. Big surprise there.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to raise such a stink about it because I can go down and buy one at Sportsman's right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like right now, I can So what's the problem with sending this one in? Like,
there should be a law against the ATF saying an American citizen can't
there should be
bring
a law
gun
against
into
the
the
ATF in general, but that's a different topic.
but
I spoke to an ATF agent a couple of months back because I applied for a license so that because I'm going back to England in January. A friend of mine just moved to the States as well. He brought his guns with him. And there's a loophole. If you're moving here, you can bring your guns with you. One time. You're allowed a one-time import.
Yeah.
I thought I could fly back to England, grab my guns, and come back with them. Nah.
But
you're
since
not
you
allowed.
already
I'm
moved.
already here. You're not allowed to do it. So I've got to import them. They need to be engraved when they get here.
Right,
stamped
Yep.
and everything. So I'm just sort of... There's a place in Illinois... which I think they're going to end up going there and then getting shipped to Alaska.
Good.
But I want them back. They're mainly Blazers, and I've got a CZ 550 Lux in 416 Rigby.
Okay.
Yeah, those 550s are nice.
Yeah,
They're,
it's a nice rifle. I've
discontinued now.
Yeah, well, I had this one customized as well as a bit of a gift to myself a few years back. So it's short and barrel.
Gorgeous rifle.
Yeah, it's all polished out, re-blacked. Stock's been shortened slightly, extended bolt handle.
Nice.
All that stuff. It's nice. It's got my name on it. Just because I can. It's like, it's in the... Do you want anything inscribed on this? I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's like, should we just put your name on it? All right. So yeah, that's got to stay in the family, basically.
Okay.
So I need it to get out of England because if I'm not there, I've got a British firearms license still, but that will expire, and I'm not sure if I can renew it.
Gotcha.
If I'm not living there.
I see.
How often do you have to renew those?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Every 5 years. They're talking about doing a 10-year, but there's a lot of stuff changing in the UK with the firearms licensing right now, and I'm not keeping completely up to date with everything what's going on, but I know the times are taking longer to get your licenses. There's a lot more stringent stuff. Basically it's the same as what happened the sort of liberal side of the world that we live in.
Right.
A lot of the doctors in the UK are generally quite liberal by the look of it, and you've got to get a doctor's clean bill of health, and the police want to have that,
like a psych eval type of a deal.
It's sort of a psych eval, but also it's basically a health check, of everything. So
if your blood pressure's too high,
it's like it's mainly to see. It's mainly a psych thing, but I mean they basically go to the doctor to see if there's any reason why you shouldn't have it, and a lot of these doctors apparently are saying they don't, like, they're anti-gun, so they just say we don't do that. So then. You have one doctor, and like you do here, you have a doctor's surgery that you go to. If your doctor won't do it, what do you do?
Right.
So there's a lot of people struggling a little bit. But I think there's obviously some people are taking advantage of that, saying, "Well, we'll do it.
Right.
Give us £100 and we'll write you a."
I was going to say, I'll say that's a great.
So I don't know what's going on exactly, but yeah.
It's a great opportunity for any gun-friendly doctors over there.
Yeah, and there is a lot. I know quite a lot of doctors that shoot. Yeah, but there's a lot that don't as well.
Right.
Especially they've got if they're younger, and they've gone through university in the last few years. All the universities in Europe and in America, it's a breeding ground for Biden.
Were you pretty excited when you went through your first buying a firearm as an American resident?
Yes.
Like post green card, you got all your paperwork.
Walk in, walk out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can't actually. Because I've got a green card, I always get flagged.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always I get the 5-day wait every time.
Man.
I bought I actually, before I got the 7PRC, the proof research, which I've got right now, I bought a Christensen.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work very well.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah, you got one of the lemons.
Yeah.
And
that
happens, unfortunately.
That I was able to buy that straight off the shelf, and I didn't get the 5-day wait on that one. But
Nice.
everything else I bought has been the 5-day.
It's because they knew it wouldn't work.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that thing.
We'll sell them the lemon.
Yeah.
Somebody else already brought this one back. We'll just get rid of it.
Yeah, I was lucky. I've got some friends in the industry, and I was really lucky that I was able to basically speak to Christensen's boss, and he was like, "Take it back. He sent an email to me, and then I showed it to Sportsman's, and they argued for a couple of minutes, and then I went, I'm not leaving until you give me my money back.
Right.
And he did. So I was just quite firm with them.
Yeah.
Like, this is not working. There's the email. They'll take it back.
Yep.
You know?
Well, and that is one thing. I mean, I've definitely heard several stories of Christensen's having a couple of QC issues every once in a while.
I think you can get a really good one, or you get a bad one.
It's one of those things, when they work, they really work.
Yeah.
And when they don't,
and
it's
the rifle itself was great. It was lightweight. It felt lovely. The stock was really nice.
I have heard their customer service is pretty good, though, considering, like, when you get one that's
was like,
got some
we will
issues.
fix it straight away. But I was leaving, and
right, you were on a time crunch.
Yeah, and I was like, I need a rifle now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm leaving in like a month, and you're telling me it's a 12-week wait. Well, we'll put it on the red flag to get it fast. I was like, well, what's that? That's 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It's still not good enough. Like,
Right,
this thing is, and then what happens if you fix it and it's not right still?
Right.
You know,
exactly.
and then I've got to put another 100 rounds through it to get bed it all and try and get it. And then I put those rounds through it, and I'm a week away from leaving, and it does the same thing again. I was like, no, it's just not. So give me money back.
Yeah.
I had another guy, a friend of a friend of a friend, and he called. He was in Texas, and he said, I've just set this proof up. It's got the Husqvarna on it. It's all ready. He's had it out to 1,000 yards, shooting like 5-inch groups at 1,000 yards. I was like, okay.
That's pretty good.
How much?
Right.
Okay. What can I trade against that?
Right, exactly.
So I sent him a couple of Swaro scopes that were surplus to requirements that I brought from England, and he sent me that rifle with it all set up and ready, and it's a good rifle. It shoots better than I can.
Oh yeah.
It's
that's the goal.
Rifle.
That's when you know you've got a good rifle, is when you'll never outshoot your gun.
Yeah,
like that's.
I'm getting better from using that gun because I know what it can do, so the confidence is there.
Right.
So I'm getting a better shot now since moving here. I'm thinking about my shots more because in the UK I was shooting deer at 30 yards.
Right, right.
Freehand, dead, in the back of the truck, next one.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm shooting stuff now at further distances, and you know, I'm really sort of thinking about my shot. I'm breathing, and I'm doing videos of myself, sending them to a friend of mine, and I don't want to say too much about him because he's in the military world, let's say that, and he's still there. He's leaving this year, but he's still up there. But he's incredible, you know. And he was like, "Dude, you're shooting very, very well. You know, just keep that up and keep going with it, and
especially when you use one rifle consistently, you really get that muscle memory down.
Yeah,
and learn, you know, learn it.
Yeah, fear the man that only owns one gun.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
So, if you don't mind, I'd like to. Well, since we already opened this can of worms, let's just circle back to what the issues were that you ended up having with the gun.
With a Christensen.
Yeah. With that Christensen. Basically,
there's a break-in process that they recommend. So I followed that, and I got about 60 rounds through it, but the bolt was really heavy, very difficult to open. That was my first indication. I was like, this doesn't feel
after
good.
you fired a round, it was a very heavy bolt lift and hard to get the brass out of the chamber.
Yeah. So I was shooting. At first, I couldn't get a group with it, and then it started grouping really well. Really well. Like, I was a quarter M away with it, you know, at 100. I was like, this is cool. And then a round got stuck in the chamber, all factory ammunition.
Yeah.
And I was looking online and stuff, and they were saying, yeah, it's Hornady's rounds and this. I was like, it's not the round. It can't be the round. And I was even getting I got the brass out and I was measuring everything. I was like, it's not, everything's very consistent, you know, for factory ammo anyway. And then I went back to the range with it, and it blew a primer out.
Oh, really?
And the round was stuck again. And I could not get it out. And
did you do a deep clean on the chamber at all before?
Yeah, I checked for like carbon ring, all that stuff. Really, I cleaned it like every time, and like really cleaned it. And it would take about 7 rounds to get back to a good shooting rifle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then about 3 more, and then you would get the chamber issues and it wouldn't eject.
Really?
So I was like, it's a good rifle. You shoot 10 rounds and then you're good. And then you've got one shot, and then you got to clean it again. You know,
one shot's all you should need.
Well, yeah. So I did that a couple of times. Took it back, called a few people. They were like, we're having similar issues. We've hearing this a lot. Blah blah. So in the end, a friend of mine, I actually posted it on the Christensen Arms thing on Facebook, and a friend from the UK who's got a big, he's called Highland Outdoors. Okay. Really big hunting company, and he was like, "Let me deal with this for you." Where they sell Christensen, so he knew. Yeah. Right. And so he got on to Christensen's guy. Got on to Proof as well, and between the 4 of us, we dealt with it.
Yeah, but that's good.
It was good. I was very lucky.
That's been probably the most common issue I've heard of with.
It seems to be all the new rounds, so like the 6.5, the 7 PRC, and the 300 PRC. Yeah, the other ones don't seem to have too much of a problem.
Yeah. So
I'm curious if it says tight tolerances.
Yeah, I would say I'm curious if it's the tolerances of the chamberings, and then how the manufacturing process is adjusting to that.
So 3 years ago, I bought I think it was the 20th or 25th anniversary edition Christensen Mesa.
Oh, I remember that.
That was like a Lipsy's exclusive or something like that.
Correct.
300 Win Mag. Yeah. And I. Folks that listen to the show know that I've shot a Christensen Mesa 7 Rem Mag for a while, you know, for a lot of different animals, and I like that gun.
It's a good gun. I've seen that rifle.
Never had a problem with it. Yeah, it was the one that I shot a couple of weeks ago when we were all out, and that gun shoots phenomenal. It shoots really, really well with a broad selection of factory ammo. I haven't ever hand loaded for it because it shoots so well with so many different factory loads. Any animal I want to hunt with that gun, I can just hand pick the bullet out of the many factory selections that I've got on hand, and it shoots them.
Yeah,
shoots them well. So I bought that 300 Win Mag. That it's an identical rifle, but it some different colors on it. It had an extended bolt knob. Just a couple of things that made it kind of a unique purchase from the Lipsy's deal or exclusive deal. Yeah. I bought that gun. I shot it. And it shot well. It shot very well. At the time, I was shooting Barnes bullets out of it. And I took it on a caribou hunt with Mariah and my brother in the wintertime. And I shot a caribou with it. I think those caribou were at 425 or 450 or something like that.
I think they were like right at 425.
Yeah. And so my brother ended up shooting his caribou with my rifle, and I shot mine with that gun. But I noticed that the chamber was kind of sticking, it wasn't necessarily a heavy bolt lift, but it was hard to get the round back out of the chamber.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And so I only, at that point, I had only shot 50 rounds through it before I took it on that little trip, just a, drive out for the 40-mile, snow machined out, killed a couple of caribou, came home that day. And normally I would want more rounds through the gun before I take it on a hunt like that, just to really break it in and test it and shoot it and get a lot of groups through it. But I got home from that hunt and I thought, man, this is just kind of odd. Like, I've never had a gun do this before. I took it to the range and I took several different factory loads for it just to try different brass, really. And I thought maybe this batch of ammo from Barnes, maybe out of these batches that I had, maybe this was a sizing issue potentially. And so I shot those, and it was the same issue. I was having really hard extractions out of the chamber. Nothing that I ever couldn't just take my fist and just smack it back and that would pop it out. But it was still like, man, I can't run this bolt fast in the field.
Right.
That's a problem, obviously. And so I shot Federal Blue Box ammo out of it. I shot Hornady Precision Hunter out of it. I shot some Federal stuff, some of the nickel brass, and all of it was doing the exact same thing. And so I contacted Christensen directly. I actually got through to one of their guys on the phone through their website. Super helpful, really nice guy. And I ended up sending the rifle back into them. They sent me a little label, and I shipped it back to them through Alaska Ammo.
Yep.
And then I got it back, and they had it back to me in like 2 weeks.
That's good.
It was extremely fast.
Yeah.
And I told them the same thing. I said, look, I hunt a lot, and I've got a deer hunt, well, no, that was past the deer hunt that year. I was going to use it spring bear for a couple of different things that I was going to do, some hike-in stuff. And so I kind of wanted that gun. And so I had told him, look, spring bear is coming up here in the next, I think it was like 8 weeks away. I said, so if you could expedite the process, I'd like to get it back well before then. And they had it back to me in, like I said, about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And it didn't have the issue after that. I shot it a little bit. Not a whole lot, and it shot fine, but what I found was that in my own head, I didn't trust it anymore.
That's a big problem.
It just kind of bothered me. And you could tell, I even got their little letter that they sent back with the workup that they had done on it. They'd said that there was some chamber spec issues with that one, so that they essentially just reamed out the chamber a little bit and gave it just a hair more space. I'm sure. And I ended up selling the gun off, and the guy that has it now, I know him. It shoots fine, it operates fine, and some days I think, man, I
had the same thing.
Maybe should have just held on to that one, but I don't know. Just in the back of my head, I always thought, man, I just don't know that I trust
that guy. Rolled his four-wheeler with that gun mounted on it.
Oh no!
And
this year
still worked.
This year?
Last year, I think.
So let's clarify this. So I have rolled a four-wheeler with a gun on it, and the gun still works.
That he sold you?
No. But the gun still works.
Yes, actually.
But it has a bent barrel. You didn't sell me this one.
His is still accurate. Yeah,
I know that. I'm saying so it still works. It's just
no. The only thing that happened, he had a Leupold scope on it, and it knocked it off 0, and that's it. He took it to the range, he put it back on 0, and it still shoots.
So I did roll a four-wheeler with my Tika. With a Leupold on it. I mean, I didn't just roll that wheeler. Oh, I flipped it in a riverbed.
It was like a body slam.
I got thrown off the wheeler. Okay.
The wheeler went airborne and sideways, and then boom, came down on top of the gun boot.
I never touched that 0 for like 2 or 3 years. Even after that, I never had to change it. Anyway,
nice. I had a Blaser 6.5 Creedmoor, and I was shooting it. I had home loads for it. It was very, very accurate, and I went to Africa with it. And that gun,
it's a good buffalo. That's a good buffalo round.
Oh yeah, that barrel was never shot again after I got back from Africa. Same thing, Dalton. It was a mental block with it. I shot at a springbuck. I was trying to get camp meat. The PH said, go get some camp meat. And basically, I shot, it was a headshot, and I hit his bottom jaw. And that thing ran and ran and ran. And it messes with you when you wound an animal.
Yeah, it does.
And anyone that's hunted for a long time has wounded animals, especially when you shoot a lot.
If it hasn't happened to you, it's just it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Or you're a liar.
Yeah. And that thing, I ended up getting the springbuck. I shot it in the engine room, and we took it back. But I went out the next day, and I was shooting at rocks with it, and it was still accurate. And I was, that was it. That barrel was. I never used it again. Yeah, it's for sale now. It's had about 80 rounds through it.
Right.
And that was which gun?
That was a Blaser R8. 6.5 Creedmoor barrel.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're telling
I've
me
been
about
thinking about getting one of those.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got. I sold the 300 Win mag.
Mm-hmm.
I've just sold one of the stocks, so I've got one stock coming here. I've got a carbon with leather inlays on it coming, and I've got a wooden stock which I have for the 375.
Do you have the thumb hole version?
Yeah.
Or? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The wooden one is not thumb hole.
Okay,
because that's I use it on the 375 H&H, and that's a stainless blazer barrel on that
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
So that's going to be generally my bear gun. I
There
think,
you go.
from now on.
That'd be a fast cycle.
that might
Oh,
work.
it's fast. Yeah, it'll be all right.
I mean, it's not quite a 6.5 Creedmoor, but it's
I'm definitely going to take the 416 to the bear stand when it comes.
Oh man,
There you
that
go.
big boy
Yeah.
walks in.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
But yeah, there's definitely, I know like archers talk about target panic, but you can get it with rifle shooting.
Oh, yeah.
as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You can.
absolutely.
It does happen, and I'm susceptible to it. I know I am. I
Mhm.
really have to be confident with my tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Do they sell blazers outside of the UK?
Yeah, you can get
Oh,
them
yeah.
in
I've
America.
never
yeah.
seen them
Yeah.
anywhere else other than
They're
online.
very expensive here.
Yeah.
And they are anyway. They're an expensive rifle, but
Yeah, $8
yeah.
grand.
Is that what they are? Yeah. I think mine. I've built them up over the years, different
Right.
stocks, added it on from base models, and
Yeah.
played around with them. And I ended up with 5 in the end. I had 5
I think the
blaster.
R8s. I think you can get into an R8 for like 3.5 to
Yeah.
4,000.
Sounds about
I want to
right,
say,
yeah.
but a lot of the ones I was looking at were pushing, especially if you find them on like was that gunbroker.com or
Yeah. Gunbroker is my best friend.
yeah, I love Gunbroker.
Gunbroker is what keeps me up at night.
That's your mindless scrolling. It's not
Last
Instagram
night,
reels.
actually.
Yeah.
Last night, actually.
But yeah, somebody was selling one of them for like, it was like $8,500 or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. It was crazy.
I just
But-
sold a stock for like $2,000.
Did you?
Yeah, just the stock.
Just the
Yeah,
stock.
with no metal work.
One
Just
thing
the stock.
I like about those, they're fully adjustable too, right? Like cheek riser and LOP and all that.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
The base model isn't, and then there's a guy in the UK that actually will take the base model blazer
Yeah.
R8 stock, and he'll put a cheek riser in it for you, build it in. But mine that I've got on has a cheek riser on it.
Well,
They're awesome rifles. They
Yeah.
really are. Yeah,
'Cause
I'd
that's
be
been-
interested to get it down in low temperatures here because it's
Oh,
a
right.
plastic magazine and trigger
Yeah.
housing. So I'd see how that reacts.
Yeah, it should do okay.
I think it'll be fine. But
I've shot Tikas that have the polymer.
I think it'll be
bottom
fine.
metal. Technically, it's not metal, but
Yeah.
that setup and then the plastic mags and
Yeah.
my Tika 7 mag worked fine no
Yeah.
matter what temperature it was. So
I've never had a problem with those on the Tikas, but now I have replaced the bottom metal with
That's
that,
right.
with that Mountain Tactical aluminum bottom metal replacement.
did you do aluminum? I thought you did titanium. Or though
It's-
the mags are
it's-
titanium, maybe.
no.
I don't know.
No, it's aluminum bottom metal, aluminum magazine replacement, but I put a titanium bolt handle
That's
on it.
what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
from a company in New Zealand, I think.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for a Tika at the moment. I'm looking for a left-handed 30-06.
So this can be like a new segment of the show, like buy, sell, trade.
Yeah.
So you're looking to sell a Blaser 6.5 Creedmoor, but you want a left-handed Tika 30-06. So
Ooh, yeah.
there's your, there it is, folks.
Yep.
Email into the bourbonhunter.com.
Right into the show. We'll get a hold of them for you.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna get my son.
Now we got to get an FFL. It's okay.
That could be to our advantage.
I've thought about it, dude. I've thought about it.
No,
Turn
my
this
son
place
is
into a gun
he's
room.
right-handed, but he's got a problem with his right eye, so he
Oh,
shoots
gotcha.
over the barrel, over the stock. Sorry, with his left
Gotcha.
eye. So I was chatting to him the other day, and I said, I'm going to get him a rifle for his 19th birthday.
Has he
To
shot
keep-
a left-handed rifle?
No, we're
Okay.
gonna train it.
Yeah.
Basically,
I was
get
gonna
one,
say.
and that's what he's going to shoot from now on.
Get him
So-
like a left-handed bolt action 22.
Yeah, just to
to
repetition.
shoot the process
Yeah.
and get used
Get
to the
him.
muscle of it.
We've got him
I was
shooting shotgun left-handed.
That's
So,
good.
yeah.
I would say it's the
So-
muscle memory. That's the
Yeah.
the hardest part.
Yeah.
Switching. There's some. What was that one rifle that did the offset stock? it had the stock was set, it offset so that you could use your left eye while shouldering right.
I've seen a lot of shotguns in the UK like that.
Yeah.
My buddy bought one at auction,
the name of it,
actually.
but
I'm going to look it up and see if I can find it.
yeah, it was a funky looking stock, but I mean functional for somebody like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. Well, let's take a really quick break, and then we'll talk about why you were in a hurry to get that new rifle.
Okay.
All right, folks. We all know that one of the most common mishaps in hunting is damage to your rifle scope. Last year, I found the solution to that problem with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. It wraps around your scope and actions securely to protect it from getting knocked off of zero or even severely damaged. Stealthy Hunter also has a glassing pad and a wide variety of supplements for the outdoorsman, such as protein powder, CBD products, turmeric, and gut health supplements. They also make a lightweight trauma kit weighing in at just 14 ounces that includes everything you need and nothing you don't for all of your backcountry medical emergencies. To shop all of their equipment and supplements, go to StealthyHunter.com and enter the discount code at checkout, The Northern Hunter, to save on your order today. All Stealthy Hunter equipment is proudly made in the USA.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about why you were in such a rush to get that new rifle after the incident we just talked about. Because you had a pretty cool hunt lined up.
Yeah. Basically, I was going to Kyrgyzstan. So a couple of friends expressed an interest in going, and I knew an outfitter out there, so I facilitated that, and the three of us went out there. It was meant to be 5 of us, but a couple of guys dropped out last minute.
Yeah.
So we went over there hunting mid-Asian Ibex, Argali, Marco Polo.
Okay.
And Siberian roe deer.
That's a pretty good lineup right there.
Yeah, it was good.
No snow leopards or tigers, though?
No. No, they're definitely there. Yeah. No, they're definitely there. I didn't see any. But I saw some snow leopard kills.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a lot of ibex, all in the same spot.
I think those are one of my favorite animals,
They're
the
awesome
snow
things,
leopards.
Oh, they're crazy.
You ever see them just like run down a cliff face chasing deer? It's so neat.
What's funny, so they've got a couple of those at the Anchorage Zoo.
Snow leopards?
Yeah. And
No
they're
kidding.
not that big.
No, they're not.
Like you would think,
leopards aren't that big.
like they're smaller than like cougars or anything like that. Like I was pretty surprised. I thought they were at least. I've only ever seen them on video.
Yeah, I mean,
so there was no like.
Normal leopards aren't that big either.
That's
I
true.
mean, it's-
Yeah. I don't see a whole lot of those in Alaska.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. But anyway, yeah.
Yep.
All this global warming, you never know.
Yeah. It'd be nice if we got some mountain lions coming over.
It's happening.
Wouldn't it be
Yeah,
nice?
It's happening.
There's been.
A huntable population would be cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Have one walk into your bear bait.
You have to watch the treetops while you're bear baiting.
I know, right? Yeah. It doesn't go to the barrel; it goes to the tree you're in.
Always look up on your stand tree. All right, we are clear from leopards today. Anyway, so Kyrgyzstan. Sorry to derail you there.
No, so yeah, we flew. I flew from Alaska to, as you know, Seattle, generally to get out of Fairbanks.
That's how I say it too.
And then, yeah. It's not- it look, Seattle looks amazing from the air.
Yeah. The funny thing is, so I've never stepped off outside the airplane in Seattle until this last time.
Yeah.
I was coming back from my
It's not
Thanksgiving
good.
travel, and we went down to the pier and down to the aquarium. And the aquarium's pretty awesome there.
Yeah.
I'd say it's comparable to the Seward Sea Life Center that they have here. They got all kinds of animals and whatnot. But
yeah, I went. When I brought my
that place is huge.
I brought my dog back from England when I first moved here, so we had to stay in, like, flying to Seattle. He was coming to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big mess about, so we ended up staying, and we booked an Airbnb on a place called Vashon Island, and that was nice.
Yeah,
Very liberal, very hippie. But
No,
I didn't really fit in. But there was
You should
there
have
was
strapped
black
on your
bear
red coat.
and there was deer on the island.
Oh, okay.
So it was pretty
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Yeah, and
Nice.
we were like watching sea otters in the water and stuff.
Was it blacktail deer?
I think they were mule deer.
Yeah, there's mule deer.
I think they were
they
mule
have
deer.
all.
They were
I think they have
small.
blacktail, whitetail, and mule deer there. I'm pretty
got
sure.
a feeling there was small mule deer.
Because right across from where Seattle's at is the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah.
And so I think they have all those deer up there. I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
I've heard rumors.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need to
okay.
go spend some time out there. That sounds like a cool place to go.
Yeah.
Not to put it on blast or anything. but-
Sounds thick.
But no, I flew to Seattle, and then I went over to Florida, and one of the guys we were going with from Florida, so the other guy, Missouri, he flew in. We had a day or two in Florida, and then we flew Miami to Istanbul, and then Istanbul.
Direct?
Yep.
Whoa.
That sounds nice.
Yep.
Whoa.
You didn't have to stop in the Netherlands or something
No.
stupid.
Direct Miami to Istanbul, Turkish Airlines,
Hmm.
and then we flew Istanbul to Bishkek,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then drove from
Spent
there.
a long time in the airport.
Long time, yeah.
And Bishkek is the capital of
That's
Kyrgyzstan?
the capital of Kyrgyzstan. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
nice city actually. Really
Yeah.
nice place. Yeah,
I've seen some photos of it. It looks like a nice
It's cool.
place.
Lots of history there. The Silk Road and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's
neat.
Yeah, it's a cool place. You just gotta, you gotta keep your wits about you when you go.
Yeah.
To
Gotta have
the
your
Far
radar
East.
up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
It felt like everybody was out just to get money from it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
So yeah, we got there, and then you sort of look on the map, and I've got a friend who'd been to the same hunting outfitter in the camp, and he'd put a pin on where the camp was. So I put a pin, and how long's this drive from it? And it's like 8 hours. Great, 8 hours. We can deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 15
Really?
by the time we got there. Like these guys were just stopping at anywhere that sold any food. Stop food.
Yeah.
Stop. And I was like, I can't eat anymore. And then it was like, stop, vodka.
There you go.
Did they speak much English or
No.
just broken?
Very broken English.
Yeah.
The main outfitter could speak English.
Okay.
Where you could have a conversation.
But he wasn't there to pick you up and drive you out there.
No, he came out there to the nearest town, which was Naryn, it's called. And then from there, he had some drivers that took us, and it was sign language from then on. So then we got out there. And we was like, well, we're just going to drink the bourbon that we brought. So we were drinking. We got to camp. It was 2 a.m. Excuse me. And we just sort of acclimatized a little bit. We were about 9,500 feet at the camp. Yeah. So we just acclimatized a little and shot our guns the next day. And everything was good.
That's a big difference in elevation from here.
Yeah. Big elevation difference. So luckily with that Husqvarna, I had a 10,000 turret on it as well. And I did actually swap my Leica binos for the new Revic.
Oh, yeah.
binos.
Yeah.
So, and those things, I'm really happy with them.
Yeah.
Those Revics are really cool.
Yeah. They look really nice.
Yeah, they're lighter than the Leicas and smaller. The rangefinder's really good.
Yeah.
And I had my ballistics in there.
Okay. Yeah.
So and it adjusted for everything.
Nice.
Basically. So
Nice.
I
They're
was
kind of kept up with elevation.
kept up with elevation, temperature.
That's
all
great.
About
pressure.
what elevation were you actually hunting at?
I shot my Ibex at 12,700 feet. Yeah.
Wow.
That's up there.
And I went above, I was higher than that, and I came down and was still above them. And I shot down at least a 45 degree.
Man,
Okay.
Shot down.
Yeah.
Steep country. Huh?
Yeah.
So
I don't
having
know.
all that internal ballistics data in the rangefinder really helped
Really
a lot
helped,
with
yeah.
the angle and the elevation.
Yeah, I ranged the Ibex, which I wanted to shoot, and I forget what it was 200 and something.
Mm-hmm.
And then so the actual range comes up, and then it says you shoot to range, and my shoot to range was 220.
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
remember that. I didn't remember the original. I shot and bowled it over
Right.
with that 7 PRC.
Nice.
And I went, let it, I saw it, legs up in the air, it's dead. And then, gave it a few more minutes when the guide had a cigarette, and we walked down there, and I'm like, I could see the blood. I knew where it was, and it wasn't there anymore. I was like, where is this thing? I looked to my right, and it's on the rocks 30 yards away, stood looking at me. I was like,
standing up.
I've killed a lot of animals, and I was like, this thing's dead,
Yeah.
And it wasn't. They're really, really tough goats,
Yeah.
So I shot again, killed it there, and then we got. I basically packed it off the mountain, down to the river, and then we waited for horses to come and take us across the river.
They're what, about caribou sized? A little smaller than that, somewhere in there.
About caribou size.
Yeah.
They're pretty big.
Yeah,
They're bigger than I thought.
Right. Yeah.
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 They're like a female caribou.
Okay.
A good cow.
Yeah.
That sort of size.
Wow.
With like swords on their head.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the one you got, man,
That's
that was
really
a
big.
very nice looking.
Yeah,
very nice looking.
The
Ibex.
one I shot, I could have shot a lot bigger in inches, but I, as I've got older, I'm more like, I like to shoot old animals now.
Oh,
if I've got a choice and I can shoot something that's like broomed off and looks a bit worn and it's got a few scars on his face, I'll shoot that one.
Right.
And there was a couple in the group that were absolute giants compared to the one I shot, and easier shots, to be honest. But I picked him out, and there was a reason behind it. Like, I knew where my other buddies were hunting, and I knew which way these things were going to run. And I know they're like the inches, so they ran that way.
Nice.
I heard a couple of shots and
set them up for success.
So I shot the one that I wanted to shoot,
There
and
you
I'm
go.
really happy. The guides reckon he's 15 years old,
Wow.
so he's probably on his last winter.
Yeah, no kid.
Um,
He survived all the leopards, all the hunters, all the everything. Man.
yeah, and then
Double broomed.
double broomed. He was about a meter.
Okay.
So what, 39 inches long, something like that.
That's a great one.
That's with the broom.
With the broom, yeah.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah, he'd have been
He's a
probably another
monster.
6 inches on that without the broom.
Wow.
But
So it
yeah,
shows. No,
go on.
sorry to interrupt you there. I just for comparison, I just kind of looked this up here. It says the largest ibex for mid-Asian ibex weighs upwards of 285 to 300 pounds. That's a big animal.
They're
That's
a
a
big
pretty
animal.
big
Yeah,
animal.
they're big.
critter.
And for folks that don't know, ibex are a part of the capra family.
Yes,
so
it's a
they
capra.
are a goat species.
Yeah,
that
that's
they're not a
right.
sheep, they're a
Yeah.
goat.
It's a
Yeah.
goat.
And it's interesting that they live in the same type of country as the Marco Polos do,
Well, it's slightly different.
but it's very comparable to like doll sheep in Alaska and mountain
Yeah,
goat in Alaska.
It is.
People
Right.
think of them as being in the same place, but in reality, if you watch a lot of these videos of like ibex and Marco Polo combo hunts, which you see a lot of,
Yep.
because basically, if you pay all the money to go shoot Marco Polo, an ibex
You're gonna take an ibex
is
as
a
well.
pretty
Yeah.
cheap addition
Yeah, it
because
is,
you're
yeah.
already there.
Yeah.
Why not just shoot
absolutely.
one?
Yeah.
After all the travel costs and everything.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, but it's interesting to see that guys will go shoot a Marco Polo, and that's in relatively steep, very
Still
high
steep,
country.
yeah.
But then you look at the ibex, and they're in the cliffs,
Yeah.
which is exactly
Yeah.
what we see up here, like with doll sheep and mountain goats. Is yes, sheep live in steep country, and there's definitely a lot of dangerous terrain that they live in.
Yeah.
But compared to mountain goats, it's just a whole different story.
It's
And
sort
it's
of-
just interesting how that translates over there too.
The way I saw it was the ibex, they like the craggy stuff,
Yeah.
like the goats do. They
Yeah.
want to be in all those
Yeah.
little crags and everything,
That's their
right in the
escape
tops
terrain.
of the
Yeah.
mountains. Whereas the sheep, the elevation can be about the same, because I know my guys, they shot the sheep at 12,000, 11,500,
Oh, wow.
something like that. Anyway, I know they were way up there.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much difference in elevation. But the sheep were generally on more rolling terrain.
Yeah.
Like here in Alaska, you'll see
Right.
them on those grass areas at the
Right.
side of the shell, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and that was one thing that was interesting. You were in reaching me while you were over there.
Yeah.
And you were saying it's basically the same as, you
Go
know.
down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm still right. You should have seen my face when you said that one. I was like, yeah. But yeah, no, you were saying it's pretty comparable. Like if
Yeah.
you hunted in the, you know, the
Yeah,
Alaskan
Everyone
back
says
mountains and whatnot.
it's like the toughest hunt you'll ever do, and it's certainly tough.
Yeah.
It was the same as being in the Alaska range. To me, the difference was the altitude, which really took your breath.
That was my question, was how did that affect you? Like
for me,
performance wise,
15 or 20 steps off the horse and you are trying to get a breath.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's almost, let's see, if you're at 12,000, you're even at camp there at 9,000.
That's three times what you're going to be at in sheep country in Alaska.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're used to Fairbanks, I mean, we're only 440 feet,
450, something like
450,
that,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's just sort of when we got to camp, we got out of the truck and there was a creek, a stream down at the bottom, and I was like, I'll go down there and I just wanted to wash my face off and stuff.
Right.
I was puffing by the time I walked down there, and it was only 50 yards.
Oh wow!
You know? And then my buddy took one of those big teepees that you've got with a stove and everything. He was packing all that, and I was like, it's too much stuff, but he took it. And I went to get some wood for him, and I was just going down, grabbing some wood, coming back up, go down, get another load.
Mm-hmm.
He did it once, and he was like, dude, you're like you're I can't remember what his words were. Something like, you're a legend going down there and getting all that stuff. I was like, well, got to keep you warm. But yeah, it was tough just walking around at like 8.5, 9,000 feet it's unless you're really, really fit, you can feel it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But we got right up there and it was sketchy for a bit. I went up, we'd seen some Ibex the first day, and I think it was the same group. And it was like a 1, 2, 3 shoot, which I hate. I hated everything about it, but let's do it. All right, and we all missed. It was like I think it was like 680 or something. We're shooting across a canyon. It was all rushed. It was not. It was doomed for failure straight away. But one of the guys took me aside. He was like, good legs, me and you there. Like that, and pointed to like this highest peak. And I'm like, okay. And he says, tomorrow we go there. And he's grabbing my thigh. Good leg. So yeah,
it's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
Yeah, I was like, is he coming on to me?
Gonna say that
just so happens he got in my tent that night. That's another story.
Let's see, I'm 15 hours out into the backcountry. This is a bad situation.
He doesn't speak hardly any English, but he knows good legs.
Yeah, good legs.
So,
yeah.
What are you trying to say here, buddy?
But yeah, so we basically split into 2 groups after that.
Yeah.
I went with a guy. It was a father and son. The son could speak pretty good English.
Okay.
He was like 21. So we went off on horses and went right around this mountain range in a riverbed and then started ascending up from there. We got to about 11,000 and we were seeing Ibex, but nothing suitable. They were all young.
Okay.
And we stayed on that mountain that night. And I said, are we staying here? He's like, yeah, here. Tea. So they all drink tea. Every if they have a chance to drink tea, they'll drink it.
Yeah.
So I started putting my tent up, and it was like 7:30, 8 p.m. I was like, I'm just gonna go to sleep. It's getting dark.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, good night. Got in my tent. There's a sleeping bag zipped up, and then I'm like, the zips undoes on the tent, and I'm like, hi, what's going on? And he's like,
what's up, good legs?
We come. He's like, we come sleep now too. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I said, get in your tent. And he's like, no, we haven't brought a tent.
Oh.
I was like, what? And I'm quite personal. I like my own space. I'll take a 2-man tent, and that's my thing. All my gear goes in. I'm quite comfortable. And so yeah, I slept with 2 guides in there was 3 of us in a 2-man tent that night. And I'm glad I shot my Ibex the next day because I didn't want to do it again for a second night. Yeah, I was
3 guys in a 2-man tent.
Well, I had my pack with my gear in it, and then I had like a horse pack, and they emptied my horse pack out and threw my bag to the side and threw it in one of the trucks before, and they put everything in saddlebags. And I was putting stuff to the side, like put this in. Put this in. I gave them my my thermarest, and they never put it in. So I get in, I'm like, where's my thermarest? And these horse blankets. So I'm sleeping on these stinking blankets. And I had like a Hilleberg Nallo. It was a Hilleberg Nallo GT. So, and that thing stunk. I gave it to the guide. I was like, that tent's not coming back with me. So yeah, he's got a $800 tent or whatever it is now. But I sharpened my name inside and I put Ibex Hunt 2023.
There you go.
Someone will have that somewhere now. It's probably on a marketplace somewhere.
Probably sold it for $3,000.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, the next day we got up, headed up the mountain, got to about 12,000, and where we thought we would see Ibex, we came over a ridge line and we thought they'd be below in the sun, and they weren't there. So he was like, you could see the guide was deflated. He was like counting on this. And so me and the young guy, we hung around for about 30 minutes, and the old guy climbed higher, and he went around. It took him about an hour, and he found Ibex, came back, got us, and we went up. And he basically warned me. He was like, it's sketchy. So I was like, okay. And we took pictures. Those two guides had never been up there. Yeah. And he was like, we got up there and he was laughing and he was tapping me on the back and he says, English, American, good hunters, France, Spain, no. It was like, the gist I got was, he said, the English guys and the American guys will go places. The European guys, the Spanish and the French and all this, they won't go up there. They'll just say no. I mean, we were climbing and like on sheer cliffs and like, one foot after the other, hold on. There was a lot of snow. I slipped at one point. I had a trekking pole and I slipped and my shoulder popped out. So I've torn my rotator cuff. So I'm still struggling with that right now. I actually got some peptides and I've been injecting peptides into it to try and repair it a little bit. I don't want to do any surgeries or anything, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we got up there and the Ibex were up there. We saw them. We came in above them, and like I say, I shot down and got the one I wanted, and then the older guy disappeared, got the horses, and he came around. It was all day,
Right.
And we went down the other side of the mountain, met him down at the river. Yeah, it was dark by the time we were down there. I probably shot him at like 9 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a long pack out. Yeah, we got him in my pack, and we took some meat, left some meat up there, and took the cape and the head and horns and everything. Yeah. And, we basically just piggybacked it between me and the young guy all the way down the mountain.
Yeah.
It was tough.
I bet.
Got down there. I got a picture of me laid on the pack with the horns are like holding my back up. And there's a fire. It was getting cold. I was like, let's light a fire. Lit a fire on the side of the river there, and we just waited for horses because it's too fast and deep to walk across.
Right.
So we waited for the horses to come, and they took us over to the camp, and then we chilled out for a few days there. And then, so
what was that day 3? You got your Ibex then?
Yeah, it's about day 3.
Okay.
Yeah, day 3 or 4. I got mine. The other guy shot the same day. One of them got what looks to be number 1 on SCI's list. Yeah, nice. I gave it a quick measure, and
because you measure for them, don't you?
Yeah, I've done the measuring. Course. I'm not like a master measurer, but I've got the pack and everything, and I've got the caliper. I've got all the stuff from them. I can do it. Yeah, done the test. But he shot his Ibex and it walked and sat on the edge of a cliff. The guide took his rifle because it was still alive, his head up, and shot again, and it rolled and fell off the cliff. And he was like, my guy was like, leave it alone, it's going to die there. It's hit good. It'll die, and it fell and rolled off this cliff. They had to rappel to go pick it up because he knew it was a big one.
Yeah.
He was like, we're going to go get this. And they got it, but it was broken. The cape was pretty beat up. But I measured, we held, one horn was still together, barring probably 6 inches. As a guess, it could have been more. Off one
that got
tip.
knocked off during the fall.
The other horn was snapped in half with about 6 inches off the end, because I've got a picture of the same Ibex I'd seen it the day before. it's really distinctive. It flares right out, and I've got an actual video, and you can see the curl on the horn.
Wow.
I measured it, and it was still 5 inches bigger than number one on SCI without its tips.
So, let me ask you this: how does the rule book look at that?
I'm not too sure. We haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
It's back down there in Florida, and it's with a taxidermist now.
Yeah.
He's going to see what he can do.
Because I know some, like for Boone and Crockett and whatnot, if you have to cut your moose horns or cut the skull to get it to fit in
antlers.
Yeah.
Antlers. Then they won't count it as a good measure. But that's more of a width measurement, not necessarily a length.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's good. Whatever happens, it's a big Ibex, and he's got it in his house. And
Yeah.
he's not too fussed about putting it in a book and all that. It's just nice. We were like, this is big. We need to like Google how big it actually is.
Right.
And see what the deal is. And then while we did that, we measured the other one, what the other guy shot. And that was like full curl. It was like it came right around. And its tips were like facing back up again. That looked, when I looked at the numbers on the list, it looked to be about number 15, around that sort of size. So whether he puts it in or not, I don't know. He might, because he's got a few animals that are in the book already. So he might put that in. So that was good.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And then from there, we those two guys went off to do their sheep, and I had a Siberian roe deer hunt. So they came and ferried me to a different area, which was a lot more wooded and like spruce trees and stuff like that.
Okay.
Still at 8,000-9,000 feet, but in a different area, right on the Kazakhstan border. So I went up there and I actually missed my first roe deer, like 380 or something like that. I shot over its back, and I forget what the only thing I could put it down to, because I was pretty stable, was that I put so many rounds through my rifle leading up to this that my speed had sped up on my barrel. But we did a thing, and it actually hadn't, because we went and shot some stuff at the range, and it hadn't. So I just missed. We carried on, just chalked it down. It is what it is. And then we got up on this sort of rocky outcrop, and we sat down. It was like 2 p.m. The sun was on us. We both sort of fell asleep. And obviously the deer sat down as well then. And I woke up an hour later, and I'm looking, and I was like, see a roe deer laid down chewing. I'm like, and I grab him. I was like, and he's like, yeah. You want to get that one? I was like, yeah. He said, let's go. I went, no. I said, you stay here. I'm going. And he's like, no, we'll get the horses. I was like, we don't, just let me go.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And I just walked along the ridge line, dropped down like 100 yards or something. By that time, the deer had got up and started walking towards me. So I shot him at like 250.
Nice.
Dropped him, and he rolled down the hill. We took the horses round, picked him up, headed back. Yeah.
Nice.
So
that was a
was
pretty
good.
nice one too.
Yeah, they're a lot different to the English roe deer. Bigger bodied.
Oh yeah.
Definitely bigger antlers as well.
Yeah.
But it was nice to shoot one in a different country.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was cool.
Very cool.
So
did everybody get their sheep too?
Yeah, they went off.
Yeah.
They had a tough time. Still a little early for the sheep. They were up in the snow and stuff, and they had a tough time, but they got it done. They got it done. Yeah, they both shot nice sheep. Nothing that's going to make any books or anything like that.
Yeah,
but one of them was one of them was really old, broomed off. The other one had nice tips on him, so they're both really happy.
Awesome.
And I met them back in town about a week later. I just chilled out 4 or 5 days, and they came back in, and then we got sorted out and headed to the airport.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
that sounds like quite an adventure.
It was good. Yeah, it's good. It's not for the faint of heart. You've got to have your head screwed on when you're going out there. You got to be in some kind of physical fitness. You don't take it for granted.
Especially at those altitudes.
Yeah.
Good night.
And just don't take too much stuff. You don't need that much gear. You know,
Right.
just
Right. Yeah.
just whittle it right down. The one thing I will say is just take your own food.
Oh,
You know,
really?
or at least supplementary food,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise you'll eat cheese and bread and dried fish, pretty much like tinned sardines for 3 weeks. You know,
Yeah.
so I took Peak Refuel with me.
Yeah.
I've been using
so-
those. I used them last year and on the Delta sheep hunt.
Yeah. I
Using
like
them.
the peak.
They're
Refuel,
nice.
so-
They taste good.
Yeah.
You know.
They've got a lot of really good flavor variations too, and I've noticed the helpings seem to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
so-
You stay full.
Yeah.
and, you know, you don't lose weight on those.
Mhm.
You know, that's what I found.
Their biscuits and gravy breakfast is one of my
nice.
Oh, man.
that's
Really
one of my
good, yeah.
favorites.
That is my
good.
favorite
I love
meal.
it so much.
Yeah, they got the venison casserole, some venison.
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's that
Venison
Chad
masher.
Mendez
Yeah.
signature one.
I
The
bought
chicken
like
and dumplings too.
Yeah, the chicken and dumplings are really
Bro.
good from Peak too.
I'll eat the chickens and dumplings at home. I've done that.
Yeah.
I bought like the base camp box set thing.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
a big like bucket full of stuff, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. I brought a lot back with me. I didn't actually eat it all because I wasn't hunting that many days in the
Yeah.
end, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, it's good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guides over there, is that like a multi-generational thing that they've done for a while, or is this a relatively...
they're basically like Kyrgyz horsemen, like
Okay.
Mongols, like Genghis Khan and all that sort of stuff. They're literally like what they can do on horses is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're you know, those guys are like a nomadic race
Okay.
in that area. So,
So-
they all live in town, but the two older guys literally stay out there for
Okay.
months at a time.
Yeah.
By the look of it.
So for historically looking at the industry of hunting that has evolved into what it is now over there, you know, because now Marco Polo and Ibex and hunts like that are probably as popular as they've ever been.
Yeah,
really.
well, it's you're
So-
getting really good mountain hunting for
Yeah.
not a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you think if you wanted to go and do a doll sheep in Alaska, let's say, you're at 30 grand
Yeah.
as a non-resident. You know,
Right.
a stone sheep's going to be 70 and up
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
You know, your bighorn sheep are all at
Are
60
stone really
plus.
that much now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
100. I've seen them at
Yeah.
100.
Right. Really?
Yeah, stone sheep base prices for a few outfitters that I know of are starting around 60 grand, and a lot of them are more than that now.
Yeah.
And that's not even to hold a candle to the bighorn sheep market down south.
Yeah.
Down in Montana and some of those places where you can get those bighorns, it's a rich man's game now.
Yeah.
wow.
But as
You can
far
go to Kyrgyzstan and do an Ibex for 5.5.
Mhm.
yeah.
You know, all in.
So for I suppose my question is more of has the hunting industry given them more things to do like that
I would say
supplements
so.
their lifestyle? Or
Yeah.
have they been doing that very long in the hunting world?
They've been hunting for 20 years, 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, whether they've been guiding,
Yeah.
you know, like foreign hunters,
Yeah.
but I'm not too sure
Yeah.
when it started in Kyrgyzstan.
Mhm.
I do know that the hunting in a lot of these places, like Tajikistan,
Yeah.
Kyrgyzstan, and all that, like species like the snow leopard have started thriving because there's now more animals because they're being managed and they're not being poached.
Yeah.
So that the management aspect has gone into it.
Okay.
So the meat is still getting used
Mhm.
generally. Like we just couldn't get all the meat off the mountain. It's just not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Where you guys were.
Yeah. But you know, generally, you know, the meat's managed. It goes to local people. They use it as camp meat.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, the hunter gets his trophies, and yeah, basically from that, the numbers are going up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and,
Good,
and with
right.
that, the predators are going up as well. So they've got wolves there, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said, if you see a wolf, you can shoot it. You
Oh,
know?
cool.
Yeah, you shoot them for free.
Mm.
You know, there's yaks there, wild yaks,
Mm.
so you can shoot those.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's different foxes and things like that.
Mm.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how that even though they've been living in that terrain and in that part of the world for so long,
Mm.
that hunting is now just in this last generation really
Yeah.
taken off.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
now they've adapted to say, well, you know,
foreigners want to come over here and shoot these animals, so we're going to be guides. And I would think at some point there's going to be more guides over there that speak English and have less of a communication barrier.
There's some outfitters, you're going to pay a bit more money, so you might pay $7,500-8,000 for an Ibex. You might get a bit better camp. You might get an English-speaking guy with you constantly. That type. Where we went in pretty cheap. It was rough and ready. Yeah, I know some camps there have saunas and stuff like that.
Wow,
out in the backcountry. So,
well, I wonder how much of that would just be due to advertisement. How many people knew that they could go over there and hunt. To be able to sustainably build a guide industry. Back in the 1900s, a lot of it was Africa was the big place to go, and Alaska or wherever. But so maybe it could have just been like a popularity thing where it's more recent now.
Right. It's interesting because earlier on, I suppose it probably all would have been in the 2000s when Jim Shockey was going over there and doing some of those hunts, and he filmed a lot of exotic, whether it was in Asia or Europe and places where he just hunted in places that a lot of folks didn't even think to go hunting because there's not a hunting culture there.
There's a lot of from that side of the world. There's a lot of species that are huntable. A lot of mountain game. So it's very accessible. Some of them are really expensive. Some of them are really affordable. But those places, there's a lot of. I think Uzbekistan has just opened up this year or next year. It's opening up. So there's some Ibex there, and there's different Ural sheep and things like that. And I know the Marco, they're over 100,000.
Yeah,
but I know that's been quite a success story with bringing hunting to those because they were pretty much on the verge of extinction, I believe.
Oh, really?
And then they've come back again through sustainable managed hunting.
Good.
So good. It's good. Success stories.
Is that managed just by the local government over there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen some of those. Argali.
Yeah.
Those look wild.
They're huge. Some of them. There's a lot of different subspecies. The one we shot, I think, is the Hugh Margali, Marco Polo, and there's a lot of different ones. But some are. I know in Tajikistan they're a bit bigger. But you're going to pay another $5,000 on top for those ones. But there's some in China which are huge, but there's no hunting in China right now. So
yeah. Interesting.
We were really close to the Chinese border. You could see it from top. So that's China. That's Tajikistan.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess when you get that high up, you can probably see a whole lot. So let's back up a little bit. So, that was your hunt over there.
Yep.
And you said you knew the outfitter over there ahead of time.
Yep.
So go into, there was a lot of time between when you first started getting into road deer hunting and stuff and you moved to Alaska.
Yeah.
And during that time, you've got a lot of stories of hunting a lot of different places.
I've been around a few different places. I've been in Africa quite a lot, and Australia, and different places in Europe. I came over to America as well. I hunted hogs down in South Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
But I went hunting in Africa the first time, and got talking to the guide there who you'll meet soon. And we realized we knew a lot of people in the industry mutually.
Okay, yeah.
So we started sort of facilitating hunting for people, and I built a small business called Global Outdoors in the UK.
Okay,
and it was primarily aimed at the working man and getting him to places what he'd read about. Like you might not be going to the Okavango Delta and hunting a buffalo, but I, at the time I could do a cull hunt on the Eastern Cape of South Africa in a non-high fenced area, which we still hunt today. And I think I was selling that for £1,200. So at the time, it's like $1,500.
Wow.
Back in 2016, 2017. Yeah. So a bricklayer, a carpenter, electrician, it became accessible.
Yeah.
So I was
blue collar hunting.
Yeah. So I was selling a lot of those. And then those guys would go back a year later and shoot a few trophies, or they might shoot one
Right,
trophy
yeah.
on their cull hunt once I felt comfortable there. Started doing that, and then a friend from Yorkshire in England, he was traveling around New Zealand and Australia,
Yeah.
and he was sheep shearing basically, and he got onto a cattle station in the Northern Territory, and he's a hunter, younger kid, and basically he took over the guiding on that thing for the buffalo.
Oh, nice.
So long story short, so he called me, he was like, you need to come over here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, when? He went, I've got a cancellation, it's like 5 weeks. I was like, right, I'll call you back. So I called around, like, can I do this? Yeah, I can get away. And basically told Brandon, my son, I was like, I'm going to Australia. He was like, Dad, I want to go. I was like, I can't afford 2 flights to Australia.
Right.
So I sold my quad bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a 4-wheeler quad bike in England, a Honda 500. Sold that, and that paid for his flight as well. And took us both. He was 13.
That's a good dad right there. That's it.
He was 13 at the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, so his first 4-legged animal was a water buffalo.
No kidding.
Shot it in the head with a 308.
And they said it couldn't be done.
So yeah, we went over there. We had a great time. We went over there with like long trousers, hunting boots, and all that. After about 3 days, we were walking around in bare feet and rugby shorts. You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Just with
110
like
degrees.
like 4, 5, 8 over our shoulder, just walking through the bush. You know, it was great. They really like showed us a lot of like the Northern Territory lifestyle, like Arnhem Land stuff on the cattle station, and we went bushwhacking right out. We were miles from anywhere, you know, out on the Waterhouse River there, and we're sat in the middle of the river, and there's crocodiles around, and you know, we went we ran dogs on pigs.
Oh, that was fun.
with daggers. So
really?
basically, no guns. The dogs bay the pig and then run and jump on its back and kill it. So that was my first.
Sign me up.
Just go and wrestle some pigs, you know.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great fun. We don't have any protection, but the dogs, we had Kevlar on them.
Oh, yeah.
But we
that's good.
You just had your rugby shorts.
Yeah, just rugby shorts and a t-shirt, you know, bare feet, just run, jump on.
Brute forcing it.
Get one arm around its head and then
Yeah.
stick your knife in, you know.
Nice.
And then hold on
Until
until
it dies.
Yeah.
So that was good fun.
What's funny is I got a buddy that was just asking me about that. He's like, you know what I'd really like to do? He's like, go back. And he's a native guy from around here. He's like, I'd really love to like go back to like traditional hunting, like stuff, and like really like spears. And he was wanting to get into archery, and like he's like, really seen a couple videos of that. I don't know where I can do that though, of killing, you know, hog hunting with a knife. I was like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, I gotta let this guy know.
Australia, you can do it. Yeah.
That's pretty
But
cool.
yeah, it was good. We were hunting buffalo, water buffalo,
Yeah.
scrub bulls. We were trapping wild dogs, dingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun out there. There's a lot of game out there. There's a lot of donkeys and camels.
Really?
And
Yeah.
so a lot of wallabies and the big red kangaroos.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
It's
Very spiritual place.
I'll say it looks really beautiful and very like you showed me a lot of the pictures from up there, and
We found like a rock outcrop in the middle of nowhere, and it was all just bush, and then all of a sudden there's these big rocks. So we walked up into it, and it's really weird, and I'll always remember this, but that the butterflies just erupted, and it was like, have you ever seen those swarms of locusts when you see it on TV?
Yeah.
So it was like that, but beautiful butterflies, and we're walking through them everywhere. They're on your hair and everything.
Really?
We walked through this rocky outcrop and came to the top, and you could see all the land around, and there was all these Aboriginal paintings and things, all these different things, and there was even there was a little sort of shelf in the rocks, and there was an old coffee pot, some sugar, and some tea bags there. And I looked, and it was like 1930 something, and it was just still
No
there.
kidding.
Yeah, just
Probably the last time anybody was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Wow.
It's that place, if you want to go hunt really out in the sticks and stuff, that's the place to go.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to be in the mountains and stuff, that
sounds
cool.
awesome.
It's really good.
Yeah.
You get a really good experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than going and trying to do a Cape buffalo in Africa. Let's say. Yeah,
right.
You could shoot 2 there for 1.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Well, less than 1, in fact. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always been. I'd love to go out there at some point, and I'm sure I will at some point in my life.
It's cool.
Yeah, I've been to Australia once when I was a young teenager and just bow hunted just for a couple of days, just pigs and goats, and it was an absolute riot.
Yeah.
I've thought about it ever since then. I'd love to get back there and see more of that northern country. I was inland of the East Coast. Several hours drive, just out on a little ranch out there that had. I think he was farming soy, and then he also raised sheep. But he wanted all the feral goats gone, all the pigs, and of course, I didn't help much with that. But young teenager with a recurve. But it was great. Just like you said, the diversity of wildlife there is really neat.
They've got, I think, I might be wrong with this, but I think everything you can hunt there is an invasive species. So, and they've got several different deer species. There's fallow, axis. I don't know if there's reds. There's hog deer.
Yep.
There's a few different deer species. There's goats. There's camels. There's even horses.
Oh wow.
There's a lot. There's donkeys.
Yeah. I know one of the first videos I watched when I was looking into getting the 375 Ruger. There's a video on YouTube about that 375 Ruger kill. It's like it's a donkey.
I've seen that video.
So believe it or not, they're really hard to kill. Not to kill, but to hunt, to stalk them, because they hang in such big groups. There's so many eyes on you trying to get close. I tried to get one. Well, I did get one with a bow, and it was like I seen a platoon or something. I was in the water, like up to my neck with the bow above my head, like sneaking through this like
stepping on the crocs.
It's like sneaking through, trying to get in range of these donkeys.
Nice.
That's funny.
Straight Black Ops on them.
I think the
mud on my face.
I think the neatest thing about it was those huge red kangaroos.
The massive.
They're huge.
Yeah, I saw some of those. Yeah, there's not many up there where I was, but we saw a big group of them. Yeah.
They were all over the place.
Yeah. You can hunt kangaroos over there, can't you? Or
is that you can hunt wallabies.
I know it's getting real political over there with the kangaroo hide.
Yeah, you can't shoot the big reds.
We can't shoot big reds because I know that there was 2 different licenses you could get to hunt them at one point. There was a culling license, and then
it's the grey. I think there's a license for the grey ones, the small wallaby type ones. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I know the farmer had some kind of a depredation permit.
Yeah, I think agriculturally they can get that.
And he was allowed to have one gun. I think it was a 223, and he had a side view mirror mount for it, and a spotlight, and he'd go out at night on the soy fields because they eat the crop.
Right. Yeah.
And so he'd go out there and thin them out. And he'd head shoot all of them, and so you'd walk around during the day or around the perimeter of these soy fields looking for pigs in the morning and the evening. And there's all these dead kangaroos out there with no heads on them. The heads are just disintegrated, blown off.
Yeah.
And the pigs at night, you could hear on the soy fields, you could hear the crunch, of the pigs with their heads up inside the kangaroos, where they've chewed a hole through them. And they're just crunching away and eating the kangaroos out there.
Basically, what happened when I was there, there was a cow, a dead cow. And, we went out on a vehicle. I was up on the back of the vehicle with a 223, and we looked, and the pigs are eating the cow.
Yeah,
I was like, Shaun, shoot! So I'm head shooting these pigs. I think I shot 8, and then I shot one a bit far back, and it made a noise, and then they all started scattering, and there was little piglets on the inside of the cow running out of its body, running off, and I was shooting them like Texas heart shot as they went down.
Just respawned out of the cow.
Just talking to my buddy down in Michigan about that. He said he found what looked to be one that got away from a hunter. Had maybe been shot with a bow and ran off and never got covered.
Yeah.
And he walked up on it, and he was looking at it, could tell it had been dead for a while.
And this is a deer?
A deer, a deer. And he kicks it. And he said a possum came running out the back end of that thing and just scared the living crap out of him.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, no.
But so was that the only time you've been to Australia then?
Yeah,
Or
just
you
the one
haven't been
time.
back?
Yeah. I sent a couple of guys over there. They wanted to go hunt, so I facilitated that for them. And they went over there, had a good time.
Well, maybe we'll have to make a return trip at some point.
Yeah, I'm itching to go back. To be honest, it's such a nice place.
Yeah,
it really is.
And you kind of teased to it earlier, but I'm going to be going to Africa with you this next year.
Yeah, won't be long. 5 weeks, is it? 6 weeks?
6 weeks. Yeah.
We'll be heading over there.
Yeah, boy.
It's gonna be warm this time of year. It's gonna be warm, but we got a few things we can do.
Well, and the wife and I, we've been talking about that. We're like, we got to start doing these kind of. If we're gonna travel hunt, we need to do it in like January and go to like warm places. Just thaw out a little bit midwinter. Yeah, like January, February.
January's not the best month in South Africa to go, but it's the best month for us to go.
Right, exactly.
Because we're leaving Fairbanks in literally the depth of winter. I just he's made sure that we're good and we can go, and the lodge is free, and we're gonna go and cull a few animals and do a bit of fishing and sit by a fire.
I'm excited, man. It's like you had said, I mean, it's blue collar priced. I mean, for what it is.
I can do. I think that one. What was I charging?
It was like 35 a person.
35 per person.
Yeah, that was for
3 trophy animals and
3 trophies, 4 culls, and a day of deep sea fishing.
All your food, all your booze.
Yep. Lodging, everything.
Everything's included. Yeah, so, just get your flight over. I'll probably run another one of those for local guys in about another year, maybe. I might go like March 25, something like that.
Okay,
maybe do one then. A couple of other people have expressed interest. I said, well, I've got places this January, but it's coming up fast.
Right.
It's hard. It's
if you can even book flights this
can.
Close,
the flights have actually gone down, which is
have they?
Yeah. You can get to London. A return trip from Anchorage to London right now is about $680.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
I have to cancel my flights and buy new ones.
Cancel and buy new.
See if I got the insurance on those.
Someone was asking last night about it, and it's just a bit close for most people now to jump on. Most people said we'll definitely go next time, so I'll probably run another trip in a year and a half, maybe something like that.
Well, that's why my wife and I decided to go with you, is because you'd brought it up, and we're sitting there looking at the pros and cons and everything, and it's like, we don't have kids right now. We're probably gonna eventually have kids soon, so it's like, at that point it might get a little harder to go do these kind of farther away trips. So it's like, is it the perfect time? Probably not, but like, is it the appropriate time? Considering life responsibilities, it's like, so I'm really excited.
My wife's coming. She's not going to be hunting, but she's coming to see the place and just sort of look at wildlife and have a nice time.
It looks gorgeous.
It's beautiful. There. It's beautiful. We'll see.
How many times have you been down there now?
I've lost count. A lot. It basically became my second home, that lodge where we're going. I was there a lot. Right. They sort of I'm not a registered PH in South Africa, but they sort of let me guide a little bit now. Because I know the area so well.
Right.
They let me pretty much.
The people.
the area, I know what's going on.
The animals.
So they let me basically take people out and
nice
and do a little bit of stuff, under their guidance still, legally. But I can help. Help with
pretty awesome.
It helps keep the cost down a little bit. We don't need another guide in camp.
Right.
So,
that's true.
Yeah. But no, it's good. It's a nice place. You're going to see a lot of animals.
Yeah,
a lot of animals.
What's the like the primary? I mean, I'm sure they have like more species than you could probably rattle off, but like comparatively to like other parts of Africa, like, I mean, is there
in that area? I think I've got to get this right. there's definitely over 60 species or something that you can hunt.
Really?
I think in Africa in general, there's over 200 species that you can hunt.
No kidding.
260 species, something like that, on the continent. South Africa. I mean, in our area, it's known for good Cape Kudu.
Okay.
Good bush buck.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get worked into mine.
I always try. Well, I mean, I always say to people, a lot of people, what can we do? And if they're doing a cull hunt, that area is known for good bush buck.
Yeah.
And they're not a really expensive animal, but it's a good hunt for bush buck.
Yeah. Kind of hard to find.
They're very elusive.
Make you pay for
it. They like the kudu. The kudu's nickname is the grey ghost. It literally just blend. It just disappears. You'll see it once. You'll say, "There's a kudu," and then where's it gone? Like it just they just disappear into the bush.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're gonna see bigger kudu in north of South Africa.
Right.
They get 60 inches. Ours, you're looking for something 48 to 50.
Yeah.
Ideally, 47's good.
Okay.
But it's a good kudu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're just such cool looking animals too.
Yeah.
My goodness.
We've got good water buck as well.
Yeah.
One of the guys who's coming with us, he said he's going to take a water buck.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing I like about the African animals versus like what we have here is just, well, one, most of them actually have horns, not antlers, right?
Yeah.
That's
They do have fallow deer there.
Fallow deer,
yeah. That's the only antlered animal.
Are they native?
No, they won't be. No, they'll have been introduced probably in the between 17 and 18.
Right. Okay.
I would think.
Okay.
That I'm guessing. I don't know for certain, but that would be my feeling when the Dutch and the English went down there.
Kind of the colony days.
Yeah, in the colonies, they probably brought them with them. Yeah.
But like the shape of a lot of these animals' headgear over there is just so it's so cool. Like the way, like the kudu. Like, why did you grow a corkscrew on the top of your head? It's like kind of trying to think of like the process of that, or like the springbucks. They kind of curls back.
Well, it's also unique because nowhere else in the world do you have helical shaped antlers,
right?
Or horns. Yeah,
horns.
Yeah. The Marcor sort of does.
That's true. That's true.
It sort of has that. It's a very distinct shape, the Marcor.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the good thing with South Africa especially is you can set yourself little goals. When you go like, I'll take a common springbuck, and then you say we do like a springbuck slam. So like a white one, a black one, a common one.
Oh, there you go.
And then you do like the spiral horn slam, like Nyala, kudu.
I would love to go out there.
Like on this trip, I'm pretty lucky. When I was there a couple of times ago, one of my clients, instead of tipping, he bought me a red hartebeest, and I've never killed it. So I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna be hunting when I go. Yeah, and that will complete my wildebeest slam. So I shot a black one and a blue one before.
Nice.
So there's little things you can sort of like, well, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard those wildebeest. I've heard them called the poor man's buffalo.
Yeah. They're tough. The blue ones are real tough. I was pretty green when I went there the first time I took the blue wildebeest, and I shot it with a 300 Win Mag, and they've got a really thick hide, and it closes up.
Yeah.
So you don't really get a good blood trail.
Gotcha,
and I shot it a bit back, and it ran, and it took us all day. We found the same one again, and I managed to kill it. But yeah, that was another one of those things where you wound something and you're a bit upset,
Right.
Yeah. It was.
You should have had your 30-06.
Yep. But yeah, the black wildebeest are fun. They're like the clowns of the plain.
Yeah,
they jump around and they prance around everywhere, and you sort of like, which one is it? And they don't generally run off, but you're not going to get much closer than 200 to them. Yeah. Generally, you can get closer, but generally about 200 from them, and then they know you're there, and they just play around, and then they'll settle, and then you go, right, it's the one on the left. and then they'll jump up again and start messing around with each other.
Yeah.
It's in the middle now. It takes time, to sort
It
of
sounds
get.
kind of like caribou hunting.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Um,
They're on that hill. Nope, now they're on that hill.
And they don't seem to care until you get into shooting distance.
Right.
yeah.
Then they'll get up that hill and then just turn around and go right back down.
Yeah. I think I liked it better over on that hill.
Yeah. That's why I found the caribou up there on the 40 mile. 200's about as close as you're going to get, realistically.
Yeah.
You could get closer, but
They're just trained. They know what
they
you
just
are.
know.
Like,
They see you and they know, and then they run a little bit further, and you walk a bit further, and then they run again.
Right.
It's just that 200 seems to be that
And
barrier.
then you pull the trigger and you look behind you. Oh, the truck is so far. I've never done that before.
Oh my goodness! Oh, dive off the side of a hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off the side of the hill. Oh, they're just right down the hill. You walk all the way down there and shoot one to look back up. Holy shit.
oh no.
I'm going to have to make more than one trip.
Yeah.
That's where
Forgot my
the
pack
winter
frame.
caribou hunting's good because you and your buddy just grab an antler each and
Just drag
You
it.
went, hey,
yeah.
That story I'm talking about, you ain't dragging
No.
one up. And I was in the snow when I did that.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh,
same
yeah.
same here.
Yeah.
I got halfway down the hill and decided to shoot one at 550 yards.
This
then
wasn't
I-
the bowl, was it?
The what?
The bowl.
Oh, it was the bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've drug them out of the bowl before.
I was down the bowl, like down by the creek.
Oh, you were in the bowl.
Oh,
then.
yeah. I'm
Okay.
talking about like I went in the bowl and then knocked out the bottom of the bowl and kept walking.
Okay, I wasn't that far.
I was way down the
I
bowl.
was about probably a little past halfway down the bowl. Probably
Yeah.
3/4 maybe.
I got down to the last little knob where it then drops into the main bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And then I shot 550 yards down there.
yeah, you goofed.
Yeah, big time. And it was about 4:00 in the afternoon in a late fall hunt. There was already snow in October. This was years ago. I was up there with another friend of mine, and I shot that caribou, and it had snowed, and there was, I don't know, 8 inches of snow.
Yeah.
But I shot it at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it got dark. So
Like 30 minutes later.
we finished butchering it, and then we each took half the caribou. And at that point, I hadn't done a whole lot of packing out animals because I'd shot them in good places. I'd had more of a brain before, apparently. And but I shot that one, and then we packed out half each in one load up the hill.
Ooh.
It took us hours.
That's a lot of caribou.
That was the same night that on my old DeLorme InReach, I accidentally hit the SOS because there was no slide lock on the SOS activation. So I got back up to the truck, turned the truck on, dropped my stuff in the bed of the truck, and then I grabbed my InReach out of my pocket, and it was red, like it was flashing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no! About 10 minutes later, the troopers drove by.
Oh.
Hey, was that you? Yeah. All right, let's check out your caribou. All right, I guess
Since you
I
called us here.
led you right to it.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a problem or anything, but it was just kind of a facepalm event.
That's
Yeah.
one thing up here you've got to have, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah,
Reach?
yeah. You
Oh
have to
yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's invaluable up here.
Yeah.
There's not many places, that people don't realize, especially in Europe,
Mhm.
you don't carry things like that generally.
Right,
You
right.
But
well, I just to get to this podcast recording in time, I came back from a trip up north, and the last 250 miles of the road coming in Fairbanks, no cell service.
yep.
Yeah.
Now, what blew my mind was the fact there was so much cell service north
The
of the
other
road in
end.
so many places. I was like, what? No, what happened to being able to get away from the boss?
Well, I called you last night at like 10 o'clock, and I said, "Where are you at?" And you told me, "Holy smokes, you've got service!"
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it all the way from here up. Wow.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I just kind of shook my head and thought, we are losing our wildness.
Yeah.
Now you're going to be able to be all the way up there and text back.
Well, just wait till Starlink releases their cell phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, well,
It's coming.
you know it's going to happen.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
got to be in the
It's-
works.
It's
like,
going to happen at
yeah.
some point.
You get a whole mesh network up there.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be a fool not to make a cell phone off of it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
So what's your big goal for the future as far as now you're in Alaska, you've killed a caribou and a couple of
Yeah.
black bears. You're hard sold on bear baiting.
Oh, I love bear baiting now. Yeah.
So obviously that's going to be a
well, bear
yearly
baiting,
addiction.
Bear baiting is great fun, but it's also that's what we eat mainly.
Yeah.
We don't buy meat in the supermarket
Me too.
anymore.
Right.
We buy a little bit of chicken, but we eat bear.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell people at home, they go, "You did what? What?" That's what we eat. We ate bear last night.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. Night before. You know,
You mean turn that Italian sausage into some spaghetti?
Yeah,
and stuff.
that's what we had. Yeah,
man.
yeah. My wife's a
So
whiz with
good.
it. She makes so many different things.
Yeah,
with bear. We had it in biscuits and gravy.
Mm-hmm.
We had spaghetti, stuffed peppers.
Yeah.
All this,
Well, the thing with bear, especially, it makes such good sausage because
I think it makes the
that's
best
in there.
sausage.
Oh my
I think it's the
just-
best.
yeah, it really is.
it's really good.
Like because you don't got to cut it with anything. Like you just. Yeah, you just.
I
grind it up.
would miss it now if I didn't have it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But no goals. I mean, I said to my wife, and I've said to you guys as well. I'm the global outdoors business and stuff enable me to go a lot of places in the world, but I am gonna just take a back seat on that now.
Right.
I'm gonna still help friends and friends of friends if they want to go somewhere. I'll introduce them to the outfitter. I'm not gonna do it to make money anymore.
Right,
It's just gonna be helping people out. There's enough for me here
Right.
to play with.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I'm going to stop international hunting. I definitely am going to do more. But I really want to concentrate on a few things here.
Yeah.
As I say, at my bear bait this year, which you all know, there was a really big grizzly bear. He haunts me. So, you know, it's literally at the point where me and my wife were watching TV and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And I'm looking at pictures of the grizzly bear that was on my bear bait.
It's like that meme where it's the girl. And she's like, he's probably thinking of other girls. And
Yeah.
he's just laying over in bed, looking at this grizzly bear.
Yep. So I'm gonna, from as soon as bear bait season opens, I'm gonna be in there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna really set my stall out for that guy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he comes back. He might not. He might have just been a freak incident. But I've got him. I've got him a few times.
I was like,
there
he
on
showed up
camera.
a couple times.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
There are a
Yeah.
lot of grizzly bears in that spot.
There is. I've got 4 different ones.
You're
on
not going to
camera.
have any trouble having grizzly bears on that.
No,
area.
I just want that one though.
Right.
I'd recognize him straight away. Yeah,
You might need that 416 for that
Yep.
big boy.
No. You got to eat that 6.5 Creedmoor and
Yeah.
Lauser
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Right.
It
But
would
no.
work.
Oh yeah,
It'll-
they'll all die. I might even shoot one with a bow this year, maybe.
There you go.
I got
Yeah.
certified this year, so
Yeah.
that was good. But yeah, I mean, I've just put some draw tags in. So I've put in a couple of party tags with my friend.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who actually introduced me to the bear bait.
Yeah.
He's a bit older than me, and he was like, "I want to do a couple more things." And he actually drew an elk tag a few years back, but his
right on.
friend dropped out, and they wouldn't drop him on Raspberry or a Fogneck. I think
Oh,
it
really?
was.
By
They
himself?
said, yeah, you're not
Yeah.
allowed on there. They won't drop single guys on there because of the bear population.
Yeah, it's
basically.
probably
There's
liability thing.
Yeah.
Too many bears and the terrain is pretty disastrous.
So
in
if you
some
go
places.
missing, they'd probably never find
No.
you.
Yeah.
So we've put in for that as a party.
Okay.
We've put in for a goat, bison, and muskox on the whole road.
Nice.
And then I'm still deciding on the sheep
Yeah.
what to put in for.
Yeah.
I'm really happy they got that muskox population up there
Yeah.
good enough to. I mean, it's not a lot of tags. I
4
think they're only
tags.
giving out 4 tags.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's
huntable though.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
that tells you something
Well,
about the
it's
recovery.
it makes it a bit more sort of affordable as well, because the Nunavut tag, you're looking at 10 grand at least before you even get in there. You know?
Yeah.
I haven't even put in for any of the other muskox tags that we have because I don't want to go out there and spend that much money.
No.
Right. Yeah.
You can fly to Greenland.
You can
and do
go
it
to
cheaper.
Greenland and do it cheaper
Yeah, you
than
can.
you can
Really?
to draw it on Nunavak
Yeah.
and then
No kidding.
fly
Yeah.
out there and do
Yeah.
it that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you could do a combo muskox and caribou in Greenland for less money.
which that actually looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that
I've done
looks like a good hunt.
I've done
I'd be
Iceland. I do.
I was just thinking that.
Iceland has a draw system for the caribou. So
Oh, they
I
do?
usually put my friends in for that. It's free to put in.
Oh, really?
So I have
Oh.
an outfitter there, and I give him names and ID. of everybody that wants to go in. You only pay when you draw.
Wow.
And if you don't want it at the time, James is giving me his ID. So you only pay when you draw, and if you don't want it and you feel like you can't go, you can just put it straight back in the hat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's not expensive.
Yeah.
So a couple of guys drew this year. One guy, he's I think he's got the North American 29, and then he had added on species to the North American 29.
nice.
Wow.
And he wanted to go and do that as one of the sort of reindeer caribou species. But he broke his leg pretty badly, so he couldn't go.
Bummer.
So that was a bit gutting for him.
So when that happens, you said you just turn your tag back in?
Yeah, he turned the tag back in. Yeah, I got
him
him a refund on that.
That's a pretty good system.
So yeah, you're not going to get a full refund.
Right, but you do get something.
Yeah, you're going to get some back. They're really accommodating over there. It's good. Yeah. But there's no hunting without a draw. You've got to draw a tag.
Well, and I just imagine a place like that, I mean, they'd have to be, pretty...
They're pretty strict because the caribou there are invasive. Mm-hmm. So they don't have any big game.
Really?
Yeah, they only have Arctic foxes, I think. And
wow.
That's it. That are actually... native to the island, so the caribou are all on the east of the island, and they draw an imaginary line, and if they go across that, they get killed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they keep them on that. They keep them on that side, and they're hunting. It's great. It's beautiful country.
What are they worried about them doing?
I think it's all the native plant life that's growing, because it's taken years to actually get the volcanic rock to a point where it's actually got soil on it.
And then them coming in and tearing it up.
Yeah, because they've got a lupin plant. If you know what a lupin is, it's a perennial flower.
Okay.
But they're an invasive species in Iceland, and then they die, and instead of wiping them out, they're letting them die, because as they rot down, it's increasing the soil content.
Yeah,
so they know that the more native things are growing in the place.
Okay,
so
that's good.
Yeah, they've got a good management system there, trying to get everything good. Yeah. But those caribou are great. There's some good.
What's now? Are those are the same? Is that a different species than what we have here?
They call them reindeer there, but I think they're just barren ground caribou.
Because I know that the like reindeer themselves, like the like farmed reindeer, are a bit smaller. They're a bit,
The ones that I saw when we went over, we got a group of bulls. And they were all big. We couldn't. We were arguing which one to shoot. They were all big bulls.
Nice.
My buddy shot a monster. So to me, they were caribou. They were like the farmed reindeer,
right?
Because I've never seen a reindeer with antlers that big.
Right, they tend to be a little bit on the smaller side.
I think they're barren ground caribou.
Okay, yeah,
I'm pretty sure they are. That's the classification.
Have you ever done any moose hunting up in the northern region there?
No, my buddy
I guess
did
they call them elk over there, don't they?
No, some guys call them elk, some guys call them moose. My buddy got one a few years back. They're a lot smaller than here.
Are they?
Yeah, a lot smaller.
Yeah.
I
think the Yukon moose are the biggest, aren't they?
Yeah. But there's some good hunting in Europe. Spain has got a lot of different species.
I've seen that guy, Pedro,
yeah.
Ampuero, I think his last name is. He does a lot of stuff on the YouTube channel, and he's hunted with Brian Call a few times. But Pedro seems like a really
he gets around a lot.
Really neat guy. But he shows a lot of that Spanish hunting, and it looks like there's a lot of things to do there too.
I shot a Pyrenean chamois there.
Oh, did you?
A couple of years back, just before I came to live here, actually. I went over there and got one, and very affordable. Really affordable hunting.
It looks very pretty over there.
It is great. We're up in the mountains in the snow, ice axe and crampons, and
a lot of neat history in Spain too.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because you're not having to take your tent with you and stuff. You can if you want, but we walked back down and jumped in a truck, and they had me in this old Spanish hotel, and like it was like an old castle or something. And it was great, and it was, I think it was $1,200 or something for that hunt, all in.
Wow.
Food and everything included.
Yeah, the architecture looks really pretty over there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Very nice place.
But they've got They've got wild boar there. They've got roe deer, red deer, fallow, mouflon.
Mhm.
There's 4 types of ibex there.
Yeah, ibex and chamois.
Chamois. There's 2 chamois.
Oh, are there really?
There's
Okay.
the Pyrenean and the Cantabrian, I think. But yeah, it's good. Spain's good. France, I don't know too much about. I'm not really into going over to France. I'm English.
So the big question is, how do you pronounce croissant?
I don't even know what one of those is.
It's
Isn't that a sausage roll?
It's like a knockoff of a bagel. It's not a real bagel.
A croissant. Yeah.
Croissant.
Yeah.
It's just another biscuit.
Croatia's another good place you can go and visit for hunting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a good buddy over there who's a guide. He's actually in Kyrgyzstan right now.
Yeah.
He's a guide in Croatia.
Cool.
Good brown bear,
Mhm.
mouflon, chamois, deer.
Nice.
Very cool.
Well, maybe we'll have to have you back on at some point to
there's a lot to talk about.
Talk about the details of like international,
Yeah.
hunting and like getting like things to consider, things to look at, ways to get into it and stuff like that. It sounds like that's probably a whole nother.
Yeah,
episode
there's
topic
so
there, so-
much you could cover on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this one up. It's taken a little bit or gone a little bit longer than I expected it was.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on and talking.
No worries at all.
Yeah.
This is one of our longer episodes we've done in a while. So
Yeah.
hopefully
No, it's been
people
great to
enjoy
have
that.
you on.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's
sorry it
just
took so
nice to
long.
see you.
I mean,
we're
we're
good.
Past a year now. So but,
It's all good.
yeah, we
we're
appreciate
busy.
all your support of the channel and,
No worries
and
at all.
everything. So
Yeah.
And
All
thanks
right.
for wearing your Northern Hunter hat on your on your hunt there.
Yeah, I thought it'd be good. There is a
Yeah.
picture of an ibex with it on somewhere floating around with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, you want to plug your Instagram while
You
while
can,
you're on?
yeah.
People want to check you out.
I actually changed it. It's I think it's 907 Shaun or Shaun 907 now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Something like that. Shaun _P 907.
Shaun _P 907.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to see all the crazy hunts this guy does and all over the world and all over Alaska,
Yeah.
yep, go check him out. And so I kind of missed our spiel at the beginning of this episode, but for anybody still listening, if you would like what we're doing here, you'd like to support us, you can definitely go to our social. If you search @ The Northern Hunter on Instagram, you'll find us there. You can send us a message if you'd like. We also have, if you go to thenorthernhunter.com, there's a contact button there to get an email out to us with any questions about anything we talk about or something you'd like posted on a future episode. While you're there, we got a shop page that you can go buy some merch from. We got hats, hoodies, t-shirts. I mean, Mo, you're not wearing your hoodie today, but you got a hat on too. Different one that Shaun has on. We got choices, people. We got choices. So let's go in there and get you some merch. We also have a partners page with a bunch of companies that have sponsored our show, and they got discount. Most of them got discount codes for us, so that's all listed there with the links. It's all hunting related companies, so
Yeah.
great stuff there. And those links and discount codes are also in the show notes of this episode. But again, the cheapest and easiest way to help us out if you really like what we're doing is to subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Give us a rating, a written review. 5 stars is the best.
Yeah.
All helps a ton in getting this show out to new people. And we really appreciate everybody listening. So, Shaun, thank you again.
No, thank you, boys.
Great to talk to you, buddy. So,
Good to be here.
all right. And until next week, folks, get out there, get after it. Good luck. We'll see you there.
All right, folks. We all know that one of the most common mishaps in hunting is damage to your rifle scope. Last year, I found the solution to that problem with the Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. It wraps around your scope and actions securely to protect it from getting knocked off of zero or even severely damaged. Stealthy Hunter also has a glassing pad and a wide variety of supplements for the outdoorsman, such as protein powder, CBD products, turmeric, and gut health supplements. They also make a lightweight trauma kit weighing in at just 14 ounces that includes everything you need and nothing you don't for all of your backcountry medical emergencies. To shop all of their equipment and supplements, go to STEALTHYHunter.com and enter the discount code at checkout, The Northern Hunter, to save on your order today. All Stealthy Hunter equipment is proudly made in the USA.